Derek got one.
easily.
You think easily? Yeah. I don't know how I feel about the whole special invite thing. Even if you are talking about, a guy like Chris Bumstead and his circumstances. I don't know.
Cedric got one.
Well,
yes, he
if you
did.
don't,
And like I said, circumstances.
2017.
He was an active military member and they gave it to him because he didn't have the opportunity to qualify. He was serving his country. You get the special invite.
He had it all year though. I don't know.
Rami,
Yeah,
he already won
Rami.
the Olympia.
Yeah. Another circumstance.
It's just that if Bumstead, I don't think Bumstead's gonna compete again to qualify. That's just it.
But
and I think he proved with a little bit of open class training, he can beat these guys.
I understand what you're saying, but regardless of if he wants to or not, like I said, it does come down to circumstances when it comes to the special invites, right? That's why they're special. Rami, it was due to COVID. They gave it to him, right? Then when you start getting into situations like where Nick Walker felt like he'd wanted one at one point, and he did at one point, he said that he thought he deserved one, right? Did he?
If he had taken one, we might have seen him.
But does he deserve the special invite?
It was due to the injury that he got right before the Olympia. I guess it's kind of hazy. If he had just said, I don't want to do the Olympia, but he got a legit injury. But I don't know. I don't know how I feel about special invites. Sometimes I'm happy about it, and sometimes I think beforehand I'm like Cedric placing the way he did. It's like, why even give it to him? See, Rami won the Olympia, so it's like, yes, he does not. Of course, he deserves to be on the stage. He's the best bodybuilder.
As did Derek, and as did Chris. They won Olympia titles. Yeah,
Derek, I think another one. Yeah, and they're champions of their division.
Yeah, it's circumstance. I think I agree with Mark that if they're the champion of another category, it's so exciting that I think most of the fans are like, they want to see them up there. And it's like, should we make them work harder to get there so it maybe hurts their look a little bit? I'm like, no, I think we give the champions of other divisions the best run at trying to win the Olympia. So that's why I think Derek deserved it. I think, but then if you say, should Sean Clarita automatically get a special invite? I'm like, that's where I'm like, I don't know, because then you sort of start to look at it a little bit differently. But someone like C-Bum, the dude is the most famous guy in the industry, probably outside of Arnold ever. And I just think he draws so much. And if there's anything for corruption, for having C-Bum having anyone win a show, it would be giving C-Bum a win at this show, because he said he maybe will do the Open Olympia if he wins, and they still didn't give it to him. So that's a nod to the IFBB.
We'll get to corruption. We'll get there. But I want to back up for a second. You said that it would be a different circumstance for a guy like Sean Clarita to get a special invite to the Open as opposed to Chris. So you think that
I said maybe.
Okay. See,
I don't know.
One way you could look at that is that Sean would deserve one more because he's even closer as a 212 champion. Not Sean himself, because he's really small, right? But I think that you should be able to. I think if you're an Olympia champion, you've obviously proven yourself. I mean, the title should get you a certain accolade in that sense. I think so. Olympia champions, special invite. No problem.
Unless we're talking men's physique, maybe to classic, then we need to. But maybe if you see
I wasn't going to bring it up. I wasn't going to bring it up
too. That would be interesting too. And I don't even like men's physique, but I would like to see one of those guys. One of them would probably do really well.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
It'd be more opportunity for them to do well, especially if they prepared for it, right? If they took that whole year and said, I'm going straight up to Open, and who knows, there might be a men's physique guy that could blow up like that and do top 10. I don't know. Possible, right? Brandon Hendrickson, when in his prime, probably could have.
I just think sometimes the flow between men's physique and classic is different. Some guys just, look at Kyron Holden, still very good in the classic, or would be, but the legs just aren't. And I still just don't think some guys in men, and some guys in men's physique look they look classic in men's physique. You know what I mean? They look like they flow perfect. But sometimes when you put the legs and attach it, like for me, even like I've done classic bodybuilding before and I won my show, but I can still admit I have some long ass legs still. And for me to get the size on my legs, it adds a lot of weight to my physique, which would probably put me out of where I'd need to be. So while I might
Yeah,
look good and I've looked good in classic
exactly.
shows,
Yeah.
it's still, I think I'm better in men's physique, which I never knew. And then I was like, yeah, I'm going to do a men's physique show. People were like, yeah, I thought you always should have done it. And I'm just like, thanks. Like, I'm glad I know now. But you can't subjectively look at yourself too. So that's why I think every men's physique guy that looks good thinks they can jump in a classic and do well if they've got good enough legs. But sometimes it's not just that, you know? Oh, yeah.
Posing.
Say,
Some guys look funny as soon as they hit a shot. They look funny.
it's a real rabbit hole there. It's a real rabbit hole. But
Mm.
in terms of Chris Bumstead getting an invite, it doesn't matter because Chris announced his retirement. So it seems like,
Yeah. He
yeah,
already did
I
though, and
think
then he
this
competed
announcement was
after that.
different than it, well, previous kind of statements he would make. He was very definitive this time. This is my last show. Done.
I don't know, man. I don't know.
I knew you were going to say that, dude. Okay.
Do you want me to tell you why?
He's young. He's
Do you want
young.
me to
Yes,
tell you
I
He's
why?
do.
young.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
He's young.
I have a list. Okay, so Michael Jordan,
Has a list.
he
He has a
he
list.
went
He has a
Good.
list.
he went from winning 3 championships. Now it's obviously different. Chris has 6 already. He went from winning 3 championships. He went to, was that when he went to baseball?
Yes.
I believe he went to
I
baseball for a
remember.
year. He sort of sucked.
Yes.
Then he went back. He won 3
Yes.
more championships.
He
He
did.
then
Sucked. He wasn't
retired.
good.
And then he came back and played for Washington Wizards. He was still actually pretty good, scoring, 20 something points a
A few
game
years later.
at an older age.
He wasn't bad at all.
Exactly. So
he wasn't bad
he
at
might
all.
go, hey,
No.
I think about it. It's if
He
I
was
was
so
C-Bum
good.
and just say, I know I'm not competing next year. Like I'm going to have the year off no matter what. But hey, it might be my last time ever on stage. Like there's a 50-50 chance to say, just say that. And he said, and he goes 50-50 chance. He's like, well, I'm going to retire properly because if there is a chance this is the last time, I'm going to retire like this is the last time. Then, hey, if I come back in 2 years' time, people aren't going to care that I retired 2 years ago. Everyone's going to be like, what? C-Bum's coming back? And people will celebrate.
No.
So he knows how this plays out.
Yeah.
Same thing with Jordan.
Exactly.
And he got, a couple of retirements,
Yeah. I don't buy into the retirements.
Everyone did.
Arnold
yeah.
retired, for goodness
He
sakes.
came back.
As soon as Arnold retired at the Olympia,
Yeah.
Chris Bumstead retired, and he came back.
Yeah.
So do
He
you
could do it
think
again?
do you think Chris is
I
going to
think he'll
spend some
compete.
time now putting on size and then kind of dropping hints that way as he just gets huge?
I think he'll chill.
Yeah. I think it'll naturally he'll get the bug again around Olympia time. His body's used to doing that for 6 years. He's going to get the bug and he's going to be like hearing all these comments. Oh, you beat Martin. You're easily in the top 3. If you beat Martin, you could win the Olympia. He's going to get these visions of, my God, I could be the Olympian, Mr. Olympia, my God. And he
Would he
will.
be
I
the
think he
greatest
will.
bodybuilder of all time?
And he'll be the first Canadian.
The greatest?
I'd like to see how he would look for a
Mm.
year's training.
It's really interesting to think because obviously we got kind of a glimpse of not necessarily an improved or substantially bigger version of Chris, but even this short amount of time did
Nope.
show us that his physique, even in its current form, a little bit more filled out, has the potential to do it. He does compare well with open competitor mass monsters. And if you can get past those guys, that is the ticket to the Olympia. It came down to the muscle when it came to Martin winning the show. That's why he won it. He did enough in conditioning and he was substantially bigger. It's the open. I've said it countless times. At the end of the day, bodybuilding is a muscle contest. If you don't have the muscle, when it comes to the gap between Martin and Chris in size, then that's what happens. With that being said, though, Chris did not look undersized at the same time, which is why I took second.
Do you think Chris beat? Do you think Chris beat Martin in the last call out of prejudging? Just say that one call out alone, that last call out. Do you think Chris beat Martin or did Martin beat Chris?
Oh, I think Chris beat Martin
Yeah,
substantially
I agree.
at prejudging. I think that the world thought that Chris beat Martin at
Oh,
prejudging.
prejudging. I thought he said finals.
Who had and that whole podcast did. And he
Yep.
even said, he said, Martin knows he's losing now. That's what he said, literally. And he wasn't.
He did have the look on it about his face looked like
Yeah.
he thought he was going to lose. Certain shots did, but in the finals he looked a little bit more
Apparently,
confident.
But
part
you know
of
what's funny?
Martin. Well, I don't know if you guys heard about
There you go.
Martin saying that he had an injury there during posing
Yep.
in the prejudging, that he injured his hamstring doing a transition. So he
Interesting.
said that's why he started sweating.
Interesting. Never heard that. He sweated at the finals, right at the very last
did, yeah.
pose.
Oh,
If you
so
noticed
that's-
that, the last most
If there was
muscular,
two more
started to come
rounds,
down. I'm like, oh,
trouble.
He would have sweat. He would have sweat. But that last pose, I'm telling you right now, if you get a chance to look at that, the last most muscular,
I'd go back and watch it
started to
again because
sweat.
I think he was actually sweating during the last round of the finals. I don't think it was just one pose. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, in the finals. Yeah. It could have been. And this one, Clarita, I was impressed with.
He sweat a little bit too.
In the finals.
Well,
Yeah.
I heard Giles
Didn't-
say, he said it
yeah.
was, he said, oh, it's super hot in
warm.
here. Like he said something like that. So at one stage,
Yeah.
as soon as I heard that, I said on my stream, I said, if it's super hot in there, because there's tons of people in this shed, so it would have been getting hotter and hotter, and as time went on, so I was like, these guys are going to sweat, and I was thinking to myself, if they put him through round after round after round at finals, I feel like Martin will just crash and they'll give it to C-Bum. And honestly, they had every reason to give this show to C-Bum. And I thought as well, having what was the guy who came fourth's name? I can't remember now. Holwick.
Matthias
Holwick.
Yeah.
Matthias Holwick.
He
Matthias Holwick.
he's a much more, I suppose, even when I saw him doing a pose down, he just doesn't have that roundness and the thickness like some of these other guys, but I loved his physique. And I was like, is he up there getting a shot in the middle because like they're changing the criteria somewhat? Like they're leaning into like, hey, we're having a bit of a shift here towards more detail in the muscle, you know, because you look at C-Bum, you look at the shoulders compared to Martin's. It's lines in the shoulders. Martin's much, much bigger, but not as many lines, you know? So I'm like, are they making some sort of massive shift where they're saying, hey, more detail, please, and more aesthetics? Like, I thought maybe they're going to make this massive shift. Had C-Bum won that contest and that Matthias got like third or something, how would we be talking now? And it wasn't, even though everyone's like, oh, it wasn't close on the scorecards. It's like, yeah, it wasn't close on the scorecards, but bodybuilding scoring isn't like, we're not giving him an 8 and a 5 and a 6 in each pose. It's just winner or loser. That's it.
Yeah.
So,
Exactly.
yeah.
Each pose can be pose. You know.
Mark, do you think that Martin deserved to beat Chris?
Well, I wasn't there, first of all, but I think just from watching the live stream, I could tell he was much better, more separated from behind. And the back shots he was winning anyway. And he was very dominant. But having said that, man, when they were calling the names, I expected Martin Fitzwater in second because of yesterday.
Yeah, the vast majority of the bodybuilding world did. Everybody, like you said, everybody on Fuad's podcast, Nick Strength and Power said the same thing. I mean, any video that I saw, you know, everybody was of the same opinion. RX Muscle, actually, no, Armand thought that Martin was the winner. I'm pretty sure. But anyway,
I think I said
majority.
after finals, I said, oh, look, I think I have Martin winning, but I think C-Bum will win. Because I thought they'd give it to C-Bum. I mean, if it's close, like you think they'd give it to C-Bum. You know what I mean? You just think they would.
You would think. You would think. Yeah, you would think. Steve Weinberger. Steve actually told Chris, just as they were doing the athletes meeting, I think it was, he was like, you got some balls on you, man, elephant size balls, like, for coming and doing this. And I was like, Steve Weinberger's giving him the nod. I was like, There we go. I don't know. A lot of people say that this preserved the essence of the Open, and I think that that's probably fair to say. Like I said, at the end of the day, it's a muscle competition, and this certainly solidified that. It tempered it, I feel. What do you guys think about that?
Mark, you go first.
Yeah, I mean, like I keep saying, that's fourth in the world. They would have to say, well, this classic physique guy would be in the first call out at the Olympia. But Martin wasn't as good as he was at the Olympia. That's just it. And if they do give C-Bomb a qualification or a special invite, they're not going to give Martin a special invite. Why would they? He'd have to compete again. So Martin's qualified. C-Bomb, give a special invite. Olympia
So you think it was you think
2025.
it was politically motivated? No? Okay.
No, I just think they picked who they got. It would be too hard of a decision to make. Like, everybody in the world wants C-Bomb to go from classic to win the show. Martin Fitzwater, fourth at the Olympia. People were saying he could even win third. Just pick who you think won. That's
Okay.
I'm so pumped for the 26 Olympia. So pumped for 26 Olympia.
26. What about
Samson,
25?
26.
nah, it's not happening in 25. 26. C-Bum will be.
He's the
No,
You
what,
don't
I,
care
what I'm
about
saying
forward
is
to 26?
C-Bum's come back in 26. He's going to start.
He's
Yeah,
jumping
that
forward.
would make more sense.
Okay.
That would
Here's
make
your
more sense.
early 2026 prediction from Xavier Wills,
All
everybody.
right.
I say top two is Samson and C-Bum. Martin in third. Imagine that, like
Martin
a
in
Martin.
third, yeah.
Martin, Andrew. Oh, good. Yeah, good
Good veto.
Good veto is no joke.
Maybe.
Seeing how well Samson did this year.
Maybe. Yep. Maybe. I think Good Vito is an Olympian in the making. Where can he place? Oh, we'll see. We'll let him get his first one under his belt. If you do your first Olympia and you make top 10, we're going to keep watching. We're going to keep watching pretty closely.
Who's more likely to win an Olympia? Do you think
Yeah,
out of the Cedo clients, Good Vito or Andrew Jacked? Like by the
now I
whole career.
act like easily, but that's just we don't know yet.
Huh.
Jack is getting top 5 at the Olympia. If you're getting top 5 at the Olympia,
Exactly.
you can win the
But
Olympia.
you got to add Derek in there because early prediction, I think that Derek is going to switch over to Chris Aceto. So make sure you keep him in.
You think Derek's going to win the Olympia again? Once you lose it, it's very hard to get it back.
His early
Very
career,
few
though.
people have
Yes.
done that.
Yes. Jay Cutler's the only one in the Open to do it. The only one ever. Is Derek able to make those kind of improvements? Well, I don't know. But Derek standing next to Chris Bumstead in 2026, even considering improvements, well, I don't think that Chris is going to be able to be beat, assuming that he does, make the jump and Xavier's actually correct on that. I will ship bricks, honestly.
I am correct. These bricks?
Those ones, yes. Yours are smaller. Yours are smaller than Mark's,
ones,
so they'll
maybe.
pass easier. So I'll go with yours.
Oh yeah, Mark's bricks.
No, they're just further back.
No, I don't.
They're further
I will
back.
take the illusion. Okay, I'll take it.
Is it this big? Those Australian blue bricks.
Sounds
What
like
a blue
a
tongue lizard.
soccer team.
We have blue tongue lizards.
Blue tongue lizards.
I think there was pro wrestlers from Australia, the bushwhackers.
I don't remember them. Haven't heard of a bushwhackers.
Never heard of them? You really never know? They were famous.
Sure.
You remember
yeah.
them, Kenton? The bushwhackers?
It just sounds like Australians, but
Can't tell if you're being
Yes.
sarcastic.
is Kenton present? Okay.
No.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
You're
it's from
frozen.
my end.
No,
Oh,
Yeah. Okay.
not on mine.
Okay. What about Sean
You're
Clarita?
frozen.
Sean Clarita from prejudging to finals, especially. Wow. Yeah. Wow
Wow.
was right.
very good.
Incredible. Yep.
It's so funny. Like front double, I'm like, he's big. He doesn't look
everywhere.
that small next to him. hits a front lat spread, and I'm like, oh, like it's just the overall
Uh,
structure and size. I'm like, I feel for him because you're next to C-Bum. You can't be Sean Clarita
No,
standing. He
he
does,
looked
yeah.
big
But you
alone, though,
can't
didn't he?
be Clarita next to C-Bum. But you can sort of be Clarita on some poses next to Martin, which was unusual because I still had Martin ahead of C-Bum. Because like
Yes.
the back double when Clarita
Yeah.
locked into it, I was like,
I
whoa,
was looking at.
like it showed that side camera
oh
angle, and you
yeah,
just saw that density of hardness. And I was like, because Martin fluctuated in prejudging, he really fluctuated up and down a bit, and I found a few of the guys did, in terms of their look because it was over an hour. And if you're that
oh
late
yeah.
on stage at night, think about if you're posing on and off for over an hour, you're going to look good at certain stages and bad at certain stages, and that's what happened to those guys. And especially what I've learned with these big guys as well, they require so much food that while they're training in a training session, they can go just flat. They can start off really full and just flatten out while they're training in 20 minutes. So posing's the same thing. So
Yeah,
yeah,
they
it's like
need
I think even
a lot of
C-Bum
calories.
came back fuller tonight, and I think he was a lot better. It's just that Martin was a lot better with the tan and stuff. So yeah.
Did you guys notice in Martin's tan along the along the trunks, he actually had like a 2 inch space running along his trunk lines where you couldn't see striations in the glutes? No?
Mm.
Yeah. Yeah. And it didn't look like it was like the
No.
trunks that wiped them off. Like this was like it was very defined, but it took away from a lot of definition. He was too light to, yeah, go back and
Huh.
watch the back shots. I noticed that on the live stream. That took away too, especially when it comes to looking further away because it created an illusion of less definition without necessarily noticing the color discrepancy as much.
Mm.
So that was interesting. Yeah, that was interesting.
Yeah, it's fun. It's funny, like just how some guys can just sometimes they can just look so dry. Like we've seen Martin look super dry and crisp, but at certain stages I've seen video where he seemed to be watery in that show. And then other stages where I'm like, he'll lock his quad out and hit certain other body parts. I'm like, inside out. You know what I mean? So I'm like,
Yep.
what? What?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Like Tom Platz.
Yeah.
Tom Platz was like that. He'd look totally watery, and then all of a sudden he'd flex his quad,
Yeah.
and it's like, geez, where'd that come
So I
from?
think there's just water there. Like
Sucks.
he has he's in condition, but there's just a bit of water overall. And I just don't think they, especially at prejudging, didn't nail the peak. But I still think at finals, if he did have an injury there as well, it's going to cause a bit of a whole body overall water inflammation. Because I remember I popped a few ribs while I was prepping for a show, so I was only a few weeks out. The amount of water I held over my abs, it was
Oh yeah.
insane. Like I completely lost my abs almost, just from an injury, just from popping over because I popped a few ribs, I displaced them,
Oh yeah.
which was yeah,
Well, your whole body, all your nutrients are going to that
Yeah. Oh yeah.
area.
Yeah.
Your whole body's gonna. Frank Zane hurt himself bad before the Olympia.
Did
He
he?
sucked.
yeah.
What
Looked like
year?
crap that year. Yeah, he slipped in a pool
Oh, okay. Okay.
for the 1980. Slipped in the pool, right beside the pool, and crashed straight into his urethra.
I
A
was not
bad
expecting
injury.
that.
Pain.
Yeah, it was bad.
No, just the
Oh, you
fact
never
that
heard
you
that
said
story
he
before?
slammed into his urethra. I wasn't expecting that terminology in that situation, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, I've heard the story so many times, and he always says that.
Frank
That's
would
what
use that
Pain.
word too.
Yeah, of course.
Of course, he's a teacher.
Yeah, of
Something of that
course. Of
nature.
course. Um,
No, but Arnold jumped in the Olympia because
Really?
of
because
that.
he knew he was injured. Okay.
Yeah, of course he did. Because Frank made light of the fact that he beat Arnold at the Universe a few years. As soon as he won the Olympia, Arnold says, "How does it feel, Frank Zane? You three-time Olympia champion now." And he goes, "Well, Arnold, it feels almost as good as when I beat you for the Universe." And Arnold, all embarrassed. So that you slipped and hurt yourself, huh, Frank?
Sounds like
Maybe-
Arnold pushed him.
You
Yeah,
talk
maybe
to
it's
the
a Nancy
judges.
Kerrigan situation.
Yeah. Just when Frank wasn't looking,
He
he pushed
may
him and then he
have.
took off before Frank could notice.
Franco Colombo
Arnold was
did
known
it.
to pull
This
a
is
scheme or
Hitman.
Probably
two.
he hired Franco Colombo to do it. And the deal was, I'll give you the title the next year,
Well,
Franco.
Franco's
if you do
smaller
this
and
for
lighter
me.
on his feet, right? He has good footwork as
So
a
Franco.
as a former boxer. So that's what it was. Yeah.
Yeah, he was
Yeah, so he would
Gives
have
him
boxing
60,
slipped in,
champion. Yeah.
gives
right?
him 60% on the bricklaying, you know.
Arnold will
Yeah,
deal with the money side of it, and
yeah.
you do the most of the work, Franco. He was a good bricklayer anyway. Sprinkle that glass on the top
What
of the
was that?
bricks. You guys ever hear that story?
No,
He'd sprinkle the glass on top of
no.
the bricks. Never heard that story. Well, Frank, it was against the law, I guess. In the States, they do it, but the or in Sardinians, they do it so people wouldn't jump over your brick wall to steal your crap. So they put broken glass into the concrete. So if you touch the
Oh
top of
shit.
that, you cut your hand all to crap. And Franco, he'd do it anyway. Yeah, he'd tell them, "Oh, you put the glass on there," and it's okay, okay, but don't tell anyone.
Well, he's trying
Just
to
tell
jump
them.
there but
Ah,
chasing someone. Mm.
guess it
Jeez,
would.
that would
Fuck
hurt.
that. Franco.
Yeah, I'm thinking about it
Arnold
now.
probably
Just
told him
ripping
to.
your hands. I'm like,
Oh man, brutal. No, no,
Franco, he was
no,
vicious.
thank you. My hands
He
are
was
fucked from
vicious.
weightlifting. It's not that bad, but yeah, my hands are pretty beat up. Uh, eh, anyway, one thing, Hani Rambod though, I wanted to ask you guys about Hani. Do you think he's relieved that Chris didn't get the nod? Because let's be honest, Chris took the nod and he was going to compete again. Hani's going to coach him. You know, he's going to be
yeah,
along for another ride. What do you think? Relief from Hani? Maybe a little.
Yeah.
you're off.
Well, doesn't he usually have
No,
other
Ian's
guys
going to
though
coach him in
too? You know what I mean?
2026. That's my prediction.
He'd only have to do
Sorry.
one guy.
Oh, I was thinking that too. Yeah,
Hey, he
the
could.
Yeah.
predictions meld.
Good.
Yes.
And
Now they're bound to come true. Sorry, what were
Yeah.
you saying, Mark?
I don't even remember what was I
Hani
saying.
being
What were
slightly
you talking
relieved.
about? Ian training him. Oh yeah, he's only gonna if he only
Yeah.
has to train Bumstead. He
Yeah,
usually
Yeah.
it's
trains
Wonder
probably
how
a good
Derek.
way
Derek
of
or Hadi
shit.
will feel about that.
Think about if you're Hani. I think the major issue probably was obviously having two of the top guys in the Open Olympia, and then imagine thinking, oh shit, Seabum's going to be in there too. Imagine if he goes in and beats Derek and Hardy, he's got another headache. Like it's regardless of
That would be that would be so much pressure to be like I could literally tweak this so I could rig this so one guy could
yeah,
win. It would be too much pressure. And then they'd be accusing you sabotaged me, and yeah,
and the
I
amount of
can't, I
money now
wouldn't be able
too.
to deal
The
with it.
amount of money. So if you got
One
one guy
guy.
that comes first and wins $600,000, and then you
Yeah.
have your other guy gets third, and maybe he was the favorite to win, and he gets 100. That's $500,000
Mhm.
US difference. It's a lot of money, you know. And I think when it gets to that point, and you've got a coach
Yeah.
making decisions, and then that athlete in their mind is going to be like, well, what are you doing for him? Is he going to be harder? Like, Hardy's looking pretty shredded. Like, are you bringing in me in hard enough? You know, like, and then if Hardy beats Derek, and Derek's like, you know, questioning Harney, should you be bringing me in harder? And everyone says, oh yeah, Hardy was harder than Derek. Derek's going to be pissed. Like, it's
Yeah.
so hard to manage at that level. Even at an amateur level, it's hard to manage. So I think Harney wanted to step away from it and wanted to separate himself from that and just go, this is too much stress. And then he said it wasn't necessarily final. Then he can just jump back in and choose who he wants after that. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know if is Derek and Hardy still sponsored, because if he can jump out of coaching, still have them sponsored, and then I don't know, and then
I
he
don't
can
think
jump
that.
back in, work with Seabar.
Yeah, I didn't think about the sponsorship aspect. I mean, Hadi and
Mm.
Derek are obviously looked after, but ultimately you are sponsored by Evogen, so you're coached by Tani. And it's like, Chris was the only exception to that. But
Mm.
here's what I think, because fucking Chris Bumstead is why. But I
And
think
Mofuda
it
was
doesn't work
sponsored
with
by
him anymore.
Evogen. Yeah, and then he left,
Yeah.
but is he still sponsored by Evogen?
Look who decided to join the party, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know.
Oh,
I don't know. But
shooting us.
what I do know, no, what I really think that part of what Hani was thinking was yeah, taking a little bit of stress off himself for sure. But if Chris comes back, he'll coach him again.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
Lee.
think he will.
Fuck
Lee, how's it
Honey.
going?
Good.
Mm.
The pro creator. Who did he ever create that wasn't already a pro?
Yeah, who gave him that fucking nickname? Himself? Come on.
Probably. I remember Han used to come to my place in Venice when he was just training and working up in Sacramento somewhere, trying to hit poses and shit. Look at my back. We're like, what back, Harney? And all of a sudden now he's the pro creator.
Not anymore.
He's won a few titles, though.
My grandmother could train Ronnie Coleman and make him win the fucking Olympia. When you got people with genetics that superior, you put them on a normal diet, bit of gear, and tell them to do cardio, they're going to fucking get in shape. Jesus, it's not rocket science.
you know, obviously, Lee, bloody what you've done.
Yeah, honest to God. Well, we talked a little bit. Well, actually, we talked a fair bit about the show. Lee, what do you think overall about the show?
Oh, am I late? It's only 11. It's only 7:30 now.
We're
How
good.
long you been on?
I don't know. Getting close to a half hour. Don't worry about it.
You said 7:30 your time.
Yeah, and we were here for 7:30, but then I waited till 8, and now it's 8:30 my time.
That's it. I thought it was 7:30 New York time now, isn't it?
New York time, but we are Atlantic
Is it-
time.
Oh, you're over
We're
further.
even further. Yeah.
Ah,
Oh, that
Yeah,
confused. Yeah,
yeah.
I almost, as Australians, we almost always go off like,
sorry.
and
Sorry
they
about
take
that.
this time.
I'm looking at East Coast time, so I'm thinking, oh, sorry about that.
Look, me and Xavier went through this when we first started doing podcasts, and then we locked in, so we know each other's time zones now. Like I'll call this
But
guy when it's
ours
6 in the morning
changed,
my
though.
time. I know I'm getting. It's changed.
It's changed. Yeah, we have daylight savings. That messes. With
Yeah,
things.
ours changed too.
Oh yeah, we did too.
Oh yeah, but there's always like a
We
week
did
or
too.
two gap, and it doesn't.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It doesn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's horrible.
Oh, is there? Yeah.
I think ours
Yeah.
changes like 3 weeks or so
Weird.
before the Americans do theirs. So
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
why can't the world get
Okay.
on the same page? Hey, everyone,
why
we
can't we
change
just
on the
not have
same date
daylight saving?
now.
Just don't have it, for fuck's sake.
Yeah.
Get rid of it.
Get the fuck rid of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just
And
don't
why
have
does it change at 2 a.m. for us, Lee? Like it changes, like, because I was watching the time and I was looking at the time and I'm like, what? And I had a little bit of my prescription as well. And I was getting so confused because I was up doing some sort of video or something. And I think I was messaging and I'm like, well, it's this time now. And I think I was sorting out a podcast. And I'm like, this is not my. And then I realized it was daylight
I feel
savings.
bad now that I'm late. I feel bad now that I'm late. I'm thinking, oh, I'm going to be on time. I went to the grocery store. Like, I got time. You should have messaged me. You should have messaged me if I was
It
late.
was
No,
right.
look,
8:30.
no, look, like I said, man, me and Xavier took time to lock in on this. Now I can call him if it's 6 in the morning my time. I know I'm getting him like just before bed when I'm on the way to work. But me and Mark are in the same time zone, so we're good. And we're probably the only YouTubers in the bodybuilding space on Atlantic time. So
That's why I go on the East Coast. You're on Atlantic now. I'm going to go watch the beginning of this show where you're like, "Where's that fucking Lee Priest, the prima donna arsehole? He's not coming on. Told him this time."
Liar.
Yeah, but we said that before we went on record, so no one can prove it.
Yeah, well, I say
No,
get
no,
rid
it's
of
all good.
daylight savings time, get rid of the 212, and get rid of fucking classic. Well, it's been, Chris has done an open show and did well. You don't need these stepping stone classes like 212 and
Yes.
open. A lot of the 212 guys now have won the Open Olympia. So to me, it's like go back to open bodybuilding. The money for classic and 212, the open can be over $1 million. Just have one class. And I hate people saying if there's no class for classic or 212, they won't compete. Bullshit. If you love training and competing, you're going to do it no matter what. It might take you a little bit longer, but these people are restricting themselves by going in these weight classes, whatever weight limit on them, when a lot of them could have been doing well in the open a lot sooner. Flex Lewis, I reckon, would have had a couple of Open Olympia wins, or at least one at that. So I just don't see it anymore. I have physique. But that's for the guys who hate doing legs. Have open, and that's about it. And then have the ladies have the fitness, the physique, and bikini. Get rid of wellness and all the other bullshit. You can go to Hawaiian Tropics or a strip club.
It's quite out of hand with some of these
It
divisions
would be
these
such
days.
a hard move, though. Yeah, but I think
Oh,
there's heaps of things in the industry we could clean up and make it, because like I agree, Lee. It is so, like one part for me. It's so hard to follow now. Like it is hard to follow. I used to follow and cover all the classes because you had figure, you had bodybuilding, you had fitness, and they weren't even at all the shows as well, but you could really follow it pretty well across all of them. And you had, it's pretty basic,
Yep.
but
Yep.
yeah, I as much as I've always been like, you should keep the 212. I'm like, it's a good stepping stone. I'm understanding more of the relevance towards it too. And I'm like, we've got classic, which is height and weight restricted. 212 is more just a shorter guy's class, you know, because you have to be shorter to fit into it properly. You know, 5, 6 or less max.
Yeah, get rid of that. That's what I said. Maybe get rid of 212 and just have a 5, 6 and over, 5, 6 and under. That way, if you're 5, 6, it'll be 212, 220, and then do like the old days. Have the short and the tall class like Franco Arnold, go for an overall.
Short man category.
If there's one thing that seeing Sean Clarita tonight, especially at finals, well, not just at finals, any of it, if there's one thing that seeing Sean Clarita stand next to Chris Bumstead proved to me, it's that 212 is especially designed for, like you said, Lee, guys of a certain height. You have a weight cap, put the height cap on it, one height cap. That makes it fair. Because Keon Pearson, a lot of speculation that if he would have been on that stage, he would have compared much better with Chris Bumstead. He's a little bit taller, right? So I think that maybe is something that could be considered, and I think it would make 212 a little bit more competitive, and you'd have some guys forced to go up to the open and just, you know, just be monsters, which some of them could be. Tell me only Crazy wouldn't do well.
When Flex Lewis used to prep for the 212, when he was like 3 weeks out, still around that 220 mark, he was just as hard, full, skin was dry, paper thin, and then he'd have to lose that extra weight to get under the 212 cap, where he would have looked better around the 220 mark and stuff. So,
yeah, absolutely.
I love that we got to see at least, even though Chris could come in better, I love that we got to see like a really good filled out version of him, just that bit extra and popping. And, you know, even though you might not see it side by side video as much, I think just in a lineup, you got to see it exploding, sort of like that really dense, hard, different sort of look to the muscle that I really like the look of. And it stuck out in the lineup and not it didn't as much at the Olympia.
I even thought they even look at it because is Chris going to win? Is Martin going to win? I'm like, look, when I saw Martin, Chris, and Sean there, to me, if they had to give it to Sean, I wouldn't have bothered because she looked just as good. To me, it's almost like, because, you know, people have their favorite, what they like, the taller shape like Chris and that more aesthetic looking, or the bodybuilder type like Martin, or you have the Sean who's a bit shorter but still compact bodybuilder. It comes down to preference. To me, it's almost like cars. We all have an opinion. I like a Lamborghini, but yet I got friends, Ferrari's better. Ferrari's got better lines. I'm like, well, I think the Lamborghini, the sharper lines are better. And, you know, they're both beautiful cars. They're both great cars. One's not better than the other, but it just comes down to preference. And that's what bodybuilding's like. It's like when you get that quality of guys up there, to me, they're all winners. It's just coming down to preference on what you like when it comes down to the taller, shorter, stockier, more compact, more muscular. Same with cars. You go to car shows and you see a car win, you're like, oh, it's okay, but that car's a lot nicer. But, you know, they're all good, but they're all in a different category, really. So,
subjective.
You won some car shows, hey, Lee?
Yes, I just won another one on the weekend, car of the month with the military Humvee.
I saw that. I was like, that's cool.
Nice.
I want to know the body count on this Humvee because it came from Desert Storm. When I was cleaning it out, it had dirt, sand in it, used grenade pins. So I want to know. All I know is last week, 2 weekends ago, when I was parked in Newcastle and the Palestinian protesters come past, they weren't happy to see the American military Humvee.
Oh, really?
When I started yelling out Israel and you fuck off to Palestine, I'll buy your ticket to get over there if you want to go and do something. You're not helping here. That sort of got them upset. The police are just looking at me laughing, shaking their head like, oh, Lee's at it again.
Henson, you might need to
you won an award with it this weekend. But it won an award this weekend.
Yes. Car of the month, yeah.
There you go. That's a win. That's a win.
Yes, a win.
No, that's cool. That's cool. Mark, do you think if Chris does go to the Open that he actually will stand next to a guy like Sampson? Like Lee, you missed it. Xavier's got a bold prediction that Chris is going to come back in 2026 and do the Open.
Well, I quickly jumped on with Sid and that on RX today, and I was saying the best show for him, I think, because people like he could get invited to the Olympia, and the invites to Olympia, you know, people are always like he shouldn't be invited, he should earn it. The Arnold's an invite. Arnold likes a lot more symmetrical guys, whereas Olympia's more massy type monsters. So if anything's going to happen, I either think next year or 26, an invitation to the Arnold would suit him more than the Olympia. So
that'd be interesting.
Yeah, I like the sound of that.
What do you have a better chance
like
of
I said,
winning on an Arnold stage?
Arnold favors
Whereas
Chris
the
and Shane
Arnold
a lot more and
usually-
those type of things.
Yes,
Mhm.
Arnold champions are generally the more
Mhm.
better physiques. Brandon Curry over Bonac and
And no one's going to
Samson over
complain
Nick
until he
Walker.
gets
That would
the
be
invite to the
interesting.
Arnold, because the Arnold is invitation.
That's very true.
They're all invite, yeah. And if he has that much time to season himself to get it, because his legs are going to blow up.
It's also enough money to entice him. That's enough money to get Chris Bumstead to go back on stage. Arnold's probably going to up it again this year.
Well, that's what I was thinking. I said that. That's what I said, because I said the Arnold's like, what, 500,000? He made the announcement, but then the Olympia on the day went higher. So now I'm thinking if Arnold promotes Chris going to that, that would have all the coverage, the people watching that. Then Arnold comes out and says, Chris Bumstead's in it, and it's 800,000 now, and just goes boom again. So
yeah, that'd be cool.
I guess it would be. I think if you get Chris Bumstead, actually, it would be enough money now. But I think Chris goes to Arnold and says, no problem. The prize money is $1 million. Cool million. Arnold can afford it. Come on.
Yeah.
Come on.
And now they would get
pocket change.
Everything. They'll get it back easy and eyes on the show. So
yeah. If I was Chris, I would say yeah. I'd say yeah. I want $1 million. Well, I to be honest, if I was Chris, I wouldn't even be asking for prize money. I'd be asking for an appearance fee. Just lock in like $250,000 or something.
Well, Phil Heath was doing that. Phil Heath was doing that. He was going to compete in that show that they were going to have with The Rock or whatever. That he was going to pay him $1 million, and
too much.
No,
hard to say.
I still think that the $1 million mark is something that Chris probably would request, even if he doesn't win it. Just the opportunity to win it would be enticing enough for him, you know.
Exactly.
I think, and especially you put that to Arnold and say, think about what it'll do when it comes to the Olympia. You think they're going to make it to $1 million this year? No, you win, Arnold. Arnold likes to win.
Exactly.
Right?
Like I said, he doesn't like the competition. Like you saw it in his movie career, him and Stallone and all that sort of stuff. He doesn't like competition. He likes to be number one. So
yeah. And do you know what's funny? The Stallone and Arnold are both on opposite ends of the spectrum politically too, as well, which I just saw.
I saw that. Well, Arnold's meant to be. He's meant to be Republican, Arnold, but he says vote for Kamala. And that's why I reposted that thing of Stallone, where Stallone's like, Trump's like the new George Washington and this sort of stuff. I said, that's why I like Stallone more.
It's funny that
Stallone writes his own movies, does his own movies, whereas Arnold needs Hollywood, so Arnold's got to be more democratic friendly.
Exactly.
Also, you always got to wonder, like, you never know, what people have on people. I mean, like, look at the Diddy party at the Karma things.
Joe Gold used to tell me some of the good old Arnold stories back in the day, which I can't repeat, but I could see him at a Diddy party. Just saying. A freak.
Oh, fuck.
Bodybuilders are like get young Arnold in his early mid-20s or 30s, 40s, and he's still on high test. He'd be at the parties.
High T. I remember being in America, always on the news calling it, do you suffer from low T? And I'm
low
like,
T.
Bodybuilders don't.
Low T.
Not bodybuilders. Low T. I'm like, you never hear that in Australia. Do you have low T? Like, do they still say that in America?
I haven't really seen many men commercials in America. What I noticed in America was period ads, vaginal itch, thrush. There are so many ads on there about women that you have so many complications down in your pants. I don't ever want to touch it again, for God's sakes. It's like, yeah. Imagine an ad for a man. Is your cock dripping? Does your cock have a cold? Does your cock's nose run? Use this medication. Stop the drip.
Does it smell like cheese?
And it's breast cancer, cervical cancer. We get testicular cancer, but you never hear about that. It's always the women's cancers all the time. What about the men?
Yeah. They're getting around the prostate now. Don't worry about that. They're getting around the prostate.
Well, that stuff is follows.
Speaking of that, I want to thank the government for once you turn 50, then 52, they send you out the free poke your poo kit, the test for colon cancer and that.
Oh,
The
nice.
government sent you that?
Yeah, see, they send it out, and you got to do your little kits here and do a poo and poke that in the poo, and you put it in the container in the water. Now, my friend, Jimmy the Bull that goes on RX, here's a funny story.
Sure, yeah.
This little container here, it has like a thing, and it looks like a lady's eyelash thing. And that's what you put in the poo, and you put it in there that they can check for blood. Jimmy got this little container, and he was trying to push the poo into the container with his hands. The container's only like the size of the head of a pin, and he's trying to push the poo into it. He's like, I was going everywhere. I'm like, Jimmy, you need to put the poker in it, not the piece of shit. yeah.
Like a core sample. They want to get a core sample.
Yeah.
Like a core sample.
It's meant to be like a core sample, but Jimmy was
want
trying
a
to put the
core
whole
sample.
It's like a
fucking tuna. They want it's like a tuna. They want to take a core to see what the quality is. Oh, it's this color. Oh, this is good shit. Literally. Like that's what's going on right now. And the government sent hold on. The government of Australia sent that to you.
Yeah, the Bowel Cancer Society. Once you turn 50, you get a free one every 2 years.
See that coat of arms in the corner?
What a society you guys live in. Wow.
The Australian government.
Wow. Is that like
they know everything
is that the federal?
They know everything, even what's in your shit. They know what you're doing.
They have your genetics now.
Yeah, that's right.
They're going to start modifying people. Humans, just jacked humans. They come out with face toys.
Yeah, that's just the government collecting more information.
Yeah.
From your poo.
I like this now.
We know what drugs you're taking. Well, they did a thing not long ago here in Australia. Did you see it, Xavier, where in the water treatment plants, they know what suburbs and cities use the most cocaine and different stuff like that from the sewage
marijuana, everything
on the water. Yeah,
I saw that. Yeah, Adelaide, ice capital of Australia.
Yeah,
or meth capital. Whatever.
All comes out in the end, doesn't it?
It does.
All comes out in the end.
Was that from urine? Was that from urine?
Man,
or was it?
I just well, urine or poo in the sewage water, however it goes.
I'll be right back.
All right. No, boys, I got a call. Lee, you might not know. I own and operate a commercial diving company. Like that's what I do for a living.
You're talking about on Dave's show. That sounds interesting. That job.
So the interesting one that we got coming up, I think I mentioned it to Dave too. Yeah, I did. Is there's an effluent pipe here, which is all city sewage that actually empties in the fucking ocean. I got a client that had me go and inspect it. I used my underwater robot. It's called an ROV, remotely operated vehicle. So I used that to inspect the pipe, and it's half buried. It's a 48-inch pipe, and it's been down there for 30 years. So most of it is buried in bottom. While I was inspecting it, the shit was just flowing out of it, right? So then I give them the video, send it off to my client. They're like, okay, we want you to dive it. We want you to dig it out because we have to plug it to divert this sewer line for the municipality. And I was like, are you fucking kidding me? I was like, we've been doing this for 33 years. I've never got asked to dive a shit. It's not uncommon in commercial diving, but it's not something that myself and my crew are thrilled about doing. So we've got a ridiculous amount of equipment coming up in order to do this. We have to set up decontamination zones. We have bleach solution. It's going to be fucking hefty, man. Like,
what's the deepest you dive when you do that type of thing? I got friends my friend's been diving for over 40 years, but he goes up to the islands. He goes to all the big shipwrecks and stuff like that. But what's the deepest you have to dive when you're working on stuff?
Well, see, we're occupational divers and we're inshore divers. So the majority of what we do, I often say, the money's between like 20 and 50 feet. Most times we're somewhere around 20, 30 feet. Like we do a lot of environmental work where we go and do sediment sampling of small craft fishing harbors. That stuff is only like 10, 20 feet at best, right? Just getting mud buckets or getting tissue samples or whatever. Wharf inspections, most wharves that you'll find are somewhere between 30 and 50 foot depth, when it comes to how much ships draw for water. So that's about what we're into. We don't go super deep.
Okay. So I remember my friend, he went on one trip once. I know they had a thing on board, like a decompression thing, because something happened with one diver. They're down pretty deep, and a shark come along, one of them panicked and decided to come up and got the bends a little bit, and they reckon that's pretty painful when you get the bends. If it doesn't kill you, they reckon. You know?
Yeah, never been through it, thankfully. Yeah,
happens on
thankfully.
Baywatch all the time. Hasselhoff.
Yeah.
Happened to Hasselhoff
Poor
on
bastard.
Baywatch that time. He came up too fast. Yeah.
It's like I used
saved
to like those, like watching the subs and that, but after watching that one that went down to the Titanic imploded, I guess it would be quick though. You wouldn't have time to even. It's like, wow, but not.
Yeah, that's
just thinking of, you see it on movies when things do that in space or in the ocean on a movie, but to have that happen in real life, it'd be like, oh, what a way to go. Like I said, it'd be that quick. They reckon you wouldn't even have time to register, but
You wouldn't. They didn't even realize that it took place. It happened so fast. I talked to someone that had some info on it. It's almost like getting like the bodybuilding behind the scenes info.
Yeah.
yeah. Oh, I heard
It's ridiculous. But yeah, but even the public info on that guy wasn't like, you can't redefine physics. You just can't.
Mhm.
And he was blatantly took 4 people with like, oh my God, man. I listened to so many different witnesses that gave like material studies on why this wouldn't work. Everybody knows that these things are spherical in shape because of the equal pressure that it's exerted. These are very easy things to understand. That guy was a fucking anyway. That's
but even when you look at the building materials on it, even like the Atari controller and all this, like, it's like when NASA gets a thing to go into space, they get the cheapest contractor, and you want to send someone into space. It's like, come on.
when that sub would come to surface, the guy that was the pilot and the CEO of the company, he would actually warn people. He would say, "Listen, this thing is going to make some pretty loud cracking sounds when it's coming up." It's like, are you fucking kidding me? And people still got on the damn thing. You have to be out of your fucking mind. It was inevitable. They had acoustic sensors on the hull that monitored these events taking place, and they still continued to do what they were doing. They were asking for it. They're more reckless. They're more reckless than fucking Ronnie Coleman 2013, man. God knows what he took. More reckless than Kevin Lee Rowan.
Because like I said,
stories about his cycles, man.
Anything like that, if you got a crack, it would just be like boom. It's not going to be like crack a little bit like a window. It's just going to.
You got to be out of your fucking mind to get on that thing, you know? But they did have the illusion of safety at the same time, right? They had forms, they had checklists, they had people looking at things, they had this and that, but it was an illusion.
Just looked like a big tic tac. Let's go into big tic tac down to the Titanic. It's like, what the fuck?
Yep. Not coming back. Not
I
coming
thought,
back.
did you see that one? I watched a documentary the other day on something where that thing they sent down found Shackleton's ship in the cold in Antarctica, almost in great condition still because of the cold waters
down in Antarctica.
pretty much.
Yeah, it was still there.
Really?
Yep.
Yeah.
They didn't want to move it because everything was just pristine.
Yeah, like Shackleton
was
just
because it's so cold.
Everything just sitting there on the bottom.
I watched that.
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they actually all survived that.
They like got back and they come back on rowboats.
Yeah, well, they did one boat right up with the roof and everything. And they sent them to the next whaling station, and they made it with this little raft.
But
that's
almost like
back there.
The true story of Mutiny on the Bounty too. Remember when they got rid of Captain Bligh, thinking he was gone, and he made Lord away back and had them all thrown in jail. He came back on the little rowboat. He navigated his way back. So
they actually made it. Yeah, they actually made it. That's one of the places I want to go before I die is Pitcairn Island, where they landed there. I want to visit there for sure. Population right now is like 50 people, I think. One of the most remote islands in the world. I got to get there.
I want to go to Antarctica. I'd like to see Antarctica down that way.
Antarctica?
Yeah, Antarctica would be cool.
Even though there's some places you can't go on there for some reason, you're not allowed.
That's the places you want to go.
Yeah, they get missiles.
Earth and the ice wall. We're not allowed to see it.
I would want to just get to Antarctica and I would love to have some sort of like, just to be able to just go as far as I can, have some sort of like, like what do they have? Like, like sea-doos, like jet skis, something like those snow ones. I would love just to. But I just. I know. I'd love to have something.
Look at Antarctica. People think it's like People think it's just a flat thing like this. Antarctica has those big mountain ranges and shit. It's like people.
Oh, big. Oh yeah, huge big
Oh
mountains.
yeah.
In there.
Yeah.
Pyramids too.
That's where the aliens come out of down there. The ships come out of Antarctica.
I hope not.
It's
The
hollow,
moon,
isn't it?
don't-
Didn't we
don't
make
start
that?
talking
Isn't
about
it
the
like
moon,
that
man.
movie Moonfall?
Moon shore is
Moonfall, I
hollow,
don't think I've seen that
where
one.
the moon men live.
It's not a
No.
bad movie, Moonfall. It wasn't bad.
Is it good?
I don't even know it.
Yeah, because like the moon
No.
stops moving, isn't it? Because the moon's slowing down, so it's messing up the Earth, and the Earth's they're going to collide. So they've got to get it back to the moon and get it restarted and stuff. And
Oh man,
It's
that
really
does
good.
sound good
I've never
actually.
seen that.
Yeah,
No,
it's
it's
every bit of
actually
my
far
alley.
as far as action and effects and that, it's pretty well made.
When was it made? When was this movie made?
Moonfall, I think it's only like a year or two ago. It's not that old if you look it up. Moonfall.
Oh,
I think it had
okay.
Halle Berry and somebody else. I can't remember who, but when he gets into Moon, it's all like I think there's like actually aliens in there too, but it's this whole mechanical sphere inside, and yeah.
I went back and I watched. You
That's
guys,
fair.
do you guys remember Mortal Kombat Annihilation from back in like the 90s?
Oh,
I've seen part one.
What?
I didn't
Oh,
see the
man.
part two.
Yeah, yeah,
It's Sub-Zero.
Right? right.
Yeah, that's
I
Sub-Zero.
went back. I paid $18 to buy the damn thing on YouTube, and I watched it like twice in a row. I fucking love that movie, man.
Really?
They just finished. They just finished part two here in
Never seen it.
Australia of Mortal Kombat with Martin Ford in it, and that they just finished filming up in Queensland. So
oh, that's
Really? I
that's-
never heard
that's
about
what he was
this.
shooting. That's right.
yeah,
Yeah.
you know the last one they made, Mortal Kombat, they just did a part two, and Martin Ford's in it. Yeah, he was out here for a while filming.
I saw
Do you know
Aaron
what
trained
character
with
he
him
is?
when he's there as well. I think a few
Ah.
people.
They did say his name. I can't remember now. If you could just Google it, it'll come up Mortal Kombat
Yeah,
2. and
IMDb.
maybe the-
Yeah,
Martin Ford. Mary.
Martyn.
Martin
Yeah.
with a Y.
Yeah, yeah. Because on
Okay.
his Instagram,
Yeah.
you had him like putting all the makeup on and doing all the makeup for it, and because he was
Okay.
filming that
That'd be so-
when they had that strike thing on. Because then he went back for a while. Then he filmed that one for Rome, that Roman one that he did not long ago with.
Oh,
Lee
I saw
Hopkins.
that. Yeah,
Was that Bo's about to die or something? Yeah.
yeah, that was good. That was actually pretty good.
Has anyone seen Gladiator 2 yet?
It's not
Is
out
it
here
out now?
yet.
It's out. I think it's out here now. Yeah.
Is it? Oh, I didn't even know.
Yeah, the
Great.
premiere. I
How is
think
it
it's
out
like
here and not out in Canada?
well, the guy that plays the main character, he's the one from the Disney one, the Star Wars one. What's his name? Pascal or whatever.
Oh, yep.
He's playing. Remember, like the first Gladiator where they had that little boy. That's him grown up. So
I saw the first Gladiator.
Okay.
I think I've only seen it once ever. So it's still like I'm really keen to watch it and then watch the second one. So it's like a nice refresher before, and I feel like I'll be able to enjoy it again because I only saw it when I was like young.
Is that
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Russell Crowe?
And what's
his-
okay,
what's
yeah,
his-
I've seen that years ago.
and what's his
I
name
haven't
was in
watched
it?
these
Remember the
in a long
guy
time.
that actually had to digitize him in it. Oliver Reed, the actor, you know, the famous actor Oliver Reed. When they were filming that movie Gladiator, he died halfway through filming, but because he was a big drinker, they said he was meant to stop drinking.
Oh,
But he was
really?
in a bar in Malta, and these American sailors come in and challenged him to a drinking thing. If you Google Oliver Reed and the bar in Malta, it comes up with how much he drank. I think it was like so many, like say 17 pints of beer, so many 15 shots or something else. He ended up winning the bet, and then he was having arm wrestling with him, or beating them arm wrestling, and then he died that night. So the rest of the movie, they had to digitalize him in the movie because he died. You can buy
Good fuck.
T-shirts in the bar with
What a
what
way
he
to
drank
go.
on the T-shirt. It's like there were so many drinks. Yeah.
Andre
That's
the
like
Giant.
David Boone. Do you remember that story, Lee? The cricketer? David. Well, apparently
I remember
he drank
David Boone.
52.
Wasn't he the wicketkeeper? Wasn't he Boone?
Yeah. It had like the handlebar mustache, and
Yeah.
he was sort of like known for drinking. I think it's 52 or 51 cans of VB on a flight to England or something. and maybe he got carried off the plane or something. So that's like an infamous story, but it's like, I think it's not, he doesn't speak about it now. And he's like, yeah, stupid. Like, he doesn't want people to like do what he did, because that would just cause most people to die, like drinking that much.
But there had that other actor, William Smith, who played Arnold's father. Arnold's father, yeah, Wills. He's been in tons of movies. He used to come into the World Gym every day, even at 8 o'clock in the morning. G'day, Lee. That real rough voice. Feel my bicep. Yeah. And you just feel alcohol. Yeah, it's great.
Oh, you knew him.
I'm becoming shut, Lee. And then,
wow.
He's been in
that show.
Laredo well, told me he did a movie. Rod Taylor, the Australian actor, was in the original Time Machine, the Alfred Hitchcock show, The Birds. Rod Taylor goes, "You fucking Aussies can drink." He goes, "I was filming that movie with Rod Taylor. We got that drunk. The next day we had a fight scene and we just punched on." He goes, "The fucker broke my rib, but I never let him know. We just kept punching on." He goes, "Them Aussies are tough when they get drinking."
But they say about Canadians too, man.
Does it?
Yeah, he did the one with Clint Eastwood, right?
Yeah, I think it was
the Clint Eastwood movie.
Way a bit loose or can one of those. Yeah.
Any which way but loose. Yeah. The famous fight scene. Oh, he was in a.
Sorry if I talk over you, Marcus. Sometimes you drop out here. I can't hear you.
No, it's his voice. It's his latency. It's like a 5-second delay on his voice. So he laughs, and you'll hear.
That's what I think. Because when he's sitting there now and not talking, I go to talk, and then he's talking. I'm like, oh shit, I'm going.
Yeah, that's what I was doing before. I'm trying to not look at his mouth too much, like around the times he's talking.
Yeah, I'm just trying to
wait now on top then for once.
That was the green square and all that lined up all in time.
Yeah, it did. It just worked. It goes in and out.
Oh no, he did that on purpose. You did that on purpose, didn't you, Mark? You tried to do that. Yeah, he did. Yeah.
That's like watching those old Bruce Lee movies.
Yeah.
It's exactly what it's like.
Fight. We can fight. Let's go right now.
Oh my god! I was actually going to say, I actually figured out how to edit it so that Mark's audio lines up with his video when I go and actually put out the podcast, so anybody watching would never notice. But I think now I got to keep it in. I think I'm just going to leave it.
We
can't get rid of them.
Why is everyone talking over Mark for?
maybe Kenson, maybe do like the first, like, let it go bad for like 5-10 minutes beforehand, but just edit the first bit correct and then just let it go bad, and then so people will get the joke, you know. Because it's good.
Yeah,
or when,
just
or when,
leave it for a portion.
When Mark's talking, put Xavier's voice so it's like a dubbed.
Imagine watching that for a whole episode. You wouldn't be able to look at the screen.
Man.
Be like,
my voice to Xavier's voice, so just give everyone a different voice. Be like, what?
That would nah.
See,
you can do it with AI now. I reckon you could do that with AI. Like literally change everyone's voice with the mouth moving. You could probably do that.
I was doing songs the other day on there's one called Songer, SONGER.co. You can pay for like 50 songs. It's only like 40 something bucks, and you put in all the words. I did a couple for Fuad and Paul on the show, because Paul's always talking about he wants to be a rapper and a basketballer. You put into certain words, and you can pick out pop, rap, any genre of song. These are actually good songs with good vocals and everything. It's like they're pretty good songs that come out by AI.
So it makes it sound like Paul would be singing, or Fuad, or whoever you put in.
No, it's just someone singing a song about them, having all the keywords that you put in, and it writes a great song and everything. I'll do you one. I'll put a few words in for you. Desktop bodybuilding, Xavier, dickhead, asshole, and I'll get this good song for you.
Men's physique, skinny legs.
Piece of shit.
Piece of what? What's the name, Taria?
Good words in.
All the good stuff.
I'll get you a by this afternoon, Xavier, to use as your desktop bodybuilding theme.
Okay, great. It sounds good. I actually
time for a new intro anyway, man.
I heard on Jay Cutler's podcast the other day. You know Mike. What's his name? He does the he's on Fuad's podcast a bit. Really funny dude. Mike Israel.
Oh yeah,
Dr. Mike. Yeah.
Oh, he was on Jay Cutler's podcast, and he said something like, and he goes, revealed. And he looked at Jay, and I think he did that based off the revealed thing. Because he said it and looked, and then he's like, no one reacted, and he goes, and he just stops. I'm like, I could tell that was from that. I'm like, I could just tell. So, yeah.
Well, I said that when I went on with Menace and that in there. I said when Milos was there, I said, I'm going to reveal something today, Milos. And I started laughing.
Oh no! What did he say?
He knew what I was saying as soon as I said it. I'm going to reveal something, Milos.
I didn't watch it. I'm off watching Bill's podcast. I just can't connect with him now. You know.
No, you're past it. Yeah.
No. You could AI us like kissing, like you have seen those AI of like Trump with like Karma when she's pregnant and stuff. And they're like in a relationship. Every time I see one of those, I'm like, it's so disturbing. And then the ones where they're all like happy and they're in, like we're all friends. I'm like, sort of makes me smile weirdly, but I don't like it as well. So yeah. Anyway, you can do that with me and Milos. Milos could be pregnant. AI.
And a baby.
Oh yeah, I can see him now.
But
I can't
that's
look at the word
too.
revealed without thinking about it, man.
I saw a lot of the Instagram pages are now saying, who are all these people going to go to now that Harney's retired? To me, I'm like, at this point in their career, they should be able to do it themselves, for God's sake. Come on. It's like, to me, it's like, I've always said, if you came to me and you wanted me to get you ready, I don't know your body. I'm going to ask you, what diets have you done? Are you carb sensitive? Are you this or that? What drugs work best on your body? And then from that point on, I'll write you a diet, a drug program, training, but it's just guessing. A couple of weeks, how you feeling? Take this out, put that in. It's like, you know your body better than anyone. I've always said, if you've got a good support team, a good training partner, a good partner, anything like that, to give you that, you know, the third eye thing where, you know, when you're feeling shitty because those last few weeks it's more mental where you go nuts, just someone to keep you on the right track. That's all you need. These coaches that take credit for guys who have that top 1% genetics, it's like, come on. It's like, yeah, you might keep them on the straight and narrow mentally, but when it comes to training everything else, if you don't know what you're doing by now, come on. It's like...
Lee, do you think the guys are willing to... hold on. Do you think that there's guys that are willing to obviously do the work but don't want to take the responsibility if things go wrong?
I think so. And I think too, it's like Paul Dillett told me, he said, I'm lazy, Lee. Because when Paul lived with me, I'll be at the fridge going, oh, should I have steak or chicken? But this Paul goes, haha, see, I look at the fridge and Chad says, meal 6, chicken and rice. He goes, I don't have to think about it. So a lot of them, just like for that reason, where they don't have to think about it. They're told what to do and stuff like that. But I prefer to do it myself. That way I got no one else to blame but me. It's like,
yeah.
Well, that's exactly why I think
I've always been the same way.
That's true.
No, but I think that's the reason why people go to a coach, because maybe not because they want to blame somebody else, but because they don't want the responsibility if things go wrong. Not speaking for everybody, but I definitely think that can be a factor for a number of competitors.
Yeah. And I think too, it's like, it's so sad because, like, you know, in the end there with Matt Jensen, some of these guys didn't do well. Before then, everybody loved Matt. His clients were doing well. The people were doing well. But the second he has a 1 or 2 bad showings, he sucks. He shouldn't be training these people. Blah, blah, blah. It's like, come on. It's like, you know, he had a good record up until then. And now all of a sudden you're coming down on him. The athletes have to take some responsibility too. If you've got a coach and like, you know, Steve Bardot from Australia, he was with me getting ready for the universe and that. And he'd be like, Lee, you should try this for water manipulation. I gave it a go. That was okay. And then leading up to the show, it was like, do your carbs a bit lower. I always stayed on like 250. I thought I'd give it a go. And even a couple of days beforehand, I went, Steve, I just did what you said. I look like shit. And Steve looks at me and goes, oh, shit, go back to what you're doing. So it's like, it's one of those things. It's like, you just got to, even if your coach says do something, you've got to question it a bit. You can't, I mean, don't be, you know, go argue, but you can say, look, I've done this before. It doesn't feel right. Whereas some people, whatever the coach says, they go, okay, I'll do it. Take this. Okay, they don't ask why or what's it for. I'll do what my coach says. It's like, come on, you got to.
Do you know what's funny though? So, some coaches, I feel like even maybe in a way gaslight their clients and be like, "Oh, you shouldn't question me." You know, you know, I've got the plan. But I agree with you, Lee. Like, I actually liked it when I used to coach, and the client would say, like, so why do I do that? Like, why am I having this then? I'd rather them ask, because then otherwise they're not going to just go, oh, okay, I can just, that's not important. And like, oh, motherfucker, this is important because of this or whatever. And like you said, most people can do it. You know?
Well, some people would come to me sometimes and go, Lee, they write me on Instagram, I love for you to do me a training and diet program. I look at their page, says coach of this and all this stuff. I'm thinking, it already says you're a coach. You got all these fucking certificates. I said, what do you think I can tell you? Or it's like, I would ask Ian, because, you know, Ian would get trained by, who was he with? Matt for a while, and Patrick and that.
Yeah, Matt.
And I think,
Patrick,
wait a minute.
Yep.
In the
And then
beginning,
back to Matt.
Ian, you got Chris ready and won 3 classic Olympias. How can you get him ready to win, but you can't get yourself in shape? I'm like, you know, and people who I see, pro
Ian's mind.
bodybuilders, well, pro bodybuilders who coach other people, but yet when they get ready for a show, they go to somebody else. So if you're a pro bodybuilder, Xavier, and you're coaching me, but I know that you go see John, I'll be like, well, fuck Xavier. If he's going to John, I'm going to go to John because John must know more than him. So it's like,
yeah, that's how I always thought of it too, Lee. But I think so much for like Ian, I think so much of it is like, look, this is the person I trust the most to bounce ideas off. Shit, I'm just gonna, they're my coach. But I think a lot of the time it is at that stage, it's like, yeah, we know what to do. They've done it a million times over. You know, Brett Wilkin, he's not a dumbass. He knows what to do. He knows how to put things in place. But I think it's an added layer of security. But for me, I'm like you, Lee. I like to take personal responsibility. So if I'm competing, if I do the plan, if I fuck it up, if I'm too flat, it's on me. So I just blame myself. But if someone else fucks up my health, if someone else messes up my comp or whatever, it will annoy the shit out of me. Maybe because I'm too much of a control freak in that way. But personally, I like to take responsibility and semi-experiment on myself. So I'm like, okay, how does this work on my body? How does this work on that? And then for your clients, well, when you coach, you're like, maybe I'll work on my client. But I found it fun in that way. But if someone else is just solely doing it, it'd be fun once or twice. But after that, I feel like
I still love the Harney. I still love to watching Harney train the pros, like wherever he's training Phil Hefo, Hardy or someone, and Hardy's doing dumbbell presses and Harney standing behind them, pointing at his chest, going. I'm thinking, Hardy's been doing dumbbell presses long enough. I think he knows that he has to squeeze his fucking chest at the top. Harney going, squeeze it, that's it, oh, that's it there. Or he's doing the poses, and Harney standing beside him going, yeah. I think I know Hardy. I think he knows how to go. Squeeze. It's like, come on. It's not like
I think a lot of that's for the video and photos.
If you're just beginning, I understand. If you're an amateur coming up and you got the coach, it's like these people that have a trainer. I see some people with personal trainers a year or two later. I'm thinking, by now you should know how to train. If you want a revision of the training program or diet, I understand going back to them. But once I've shown you how to do chest movements, dumbbells, and all this, after 6 months, I shouldn't have to show you how to do dumbbell presses again. You should know how to do it.
So much is accountability, though. So much is accountability. Because I had clients, PT clients, and I, just one woman, she'd come see me 3 times a week. She's like, oh, I think I can do it on my own. I hardly saw her walk in the gym. It was maybe once every 2 weeks. So it went from 6 times every 2 weeks to once. And then it was like 3-4 months later, she came back and started training with me, and it was 3 times a week. And she said, and she just admitted it to me. She said, if I've said that I'm going to train with you at 6 a.m., then I'm not going to waste my money. And she's like, it keeps me fit, keeps me in shape. So,
but I think we're all like that. I think we're all like that with training partners. If I'm going to train by myself, it's like, I'll go later. But if I know I've got to meet someone at 6, you're there at 6. So,
it does hold you to account for sure.
It's funny training at home. There's really 2 schools of people that have, the home training set up. There's either the people that say, you know what, I have the gym, so I'm definitely going to use it. Or there's the people that are just too lazy to work out at home. They get all the shit and it ends up being fucking coat racks or laundry racks, right? That's what ends up happening. I actually hung my sweater on the bike today, and look, I've been training at home for years now, right? And I've loved my gym setup, and I took my sweater and I hung it on the bike, and I immediately caught myself. I was like, it's not where that goes. We're not. I have no chance of starting that, but no.
I have the best workouts when I train home sometimes because there's no distraction. You're focused. You're doing the exercise, and sometimes too, all of a sudden, you've done all your exercise, and you're like, it only took 40 minutes. Why does that take me an hour 20 when I'm at the gym? It's like
just visual distractions, you know what I mean? Like it's crazy.
You can get a good workout in.
It's funny, like during COVID. Yeah, yours is cool, man. You got the writing and everything on the wall. And during the lockdowns and stuff, I went out and bought all the equipment, and there was like the amount of people trying to buy equipment off this guy was crazy
Oh,
when
yeah.
I got it. So I got in, a day or two later, I would have been done, not got any, but got a pretty good setup, set it up outside, and just like being at home and then being able to lock in and having nothing where you've got to go out to some work or whatever. Although I would have preferred to not stopping the work I had. It was actually good. And like, it was actually almost meditative because like I'm out in the backyard, Perth summer, it's nice and warm. I'm on the Smith machine. I've just got my eyes closed, music going. Yeah, it was outside.
Oh, you're outside.
And
that's even
fucking
better,
Oh,
man.
that would be awesome.
His own muscle pit outside.
it was actually awesome that period of time, and it was so I was doing like Smith machine. It was a bit of a rickety Smith machine, but a Smith machine like bench press, and I just remember closing my eyes and music's going. I'm like, I'm feeling this more than I've ever felt it before. I'm like, there's probably just so many distractions at the gym in general. You're thinking about, there's a light in my eye, or there's this, or there's that, and it's like, yeah, it was sort of cool just to be able to just disconnect and just train. And
remember that
old school.
I did when I was living in the high desert of California before I won the 2002 San Francisco. I didn't train once at the gym for 6 months. I just trained at home for that 6 months. I went to the gym just for cardio, to be entertained watching people while I did cardio. But all my workouts were done at home for 6 months. I never went to a gym at all. I had the best workouts ever.
That's awesome. Yeah.
The only thing is,
I didn't know that is awesome.
Wow.
I have to do it first thing there. Get up, have a cup of coffee, and do it. If I go, let me just watch this for a minute on TV. I'll watch another one. I'll do it at 7. I'll do it at 8. Next thing it's like, I'll do it tomorrow. The enthusiasm's gone. It's like I got to go before I think about it. So
yeah,
these days it's getting up in the morning and going to take a shit and then looking, what am I going to have in a video today? Next thing I know, a fucking half hour's gone by and I'm like, fuck, I'm supposed to train before I go and do this video. It's fucking you got to just get up and go get it done.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, yeah. But that's what I've been a morning training guy really from necessity is how I first started doing it. But I fucking love training first thing in the morning, man. I love it.
Yeah. I find once you get used to it, it's good. And I tell people that because I got mates at work and they go, I don't know if I can do it. I said, listen, because they'll have like labor jobs that are hard and that out in the sun all day. And if you've worked hard in the sun all day, you're drained. It's 5 o'clock now. All you want to do is go home, go into the gym. Then they might have a pre-workout. Then they can't sleep when they get home from the gym. I said, look, in the beginning, it's hard, but at least if you get up and you do your workout first thing, then you go to work. It doesn't matter how your day is from that point on. You've had your workout. The workout's done. You can have the shittiest day ever now, but it doesn't matter. I trained. Whereas if you're having a shitty day, you're done working like, oh, fuck, I got to still go to the gym. Yeah. Then it's just like too much of a head fuck. That's why get it done first and then go do the rest of your day. Because then you know your workout's done and you feel better.
Yep.
Man, it's awesome. Yeah, especially for myself, like on days that I dive, I actually have to train before I dive because you can't accumulate nitrogen in your system and then go break down that tissue. You can end up with problems. It's just not conducive. So yeah.
Have you ever trained arms hard and got a cramp while you're down there diving?
Oh, that'd be a nightmare. I've been cramping a bit lately, just in general life.
I've come out of the water pretty sore for a few days, but never really tried to get a pump underwater or anything. No, there was one job we were doing. It was actually December 20. Chris, was it the 25th or the 27th that I had that call from the ship cutting that net out? Yeah, it was Christmas time. It was it was from my birthday on for 3 days straight over Christmas break. We're supposed to take 2 weeks off from Christmas. A ship called, and they wrapped a few hundred meters of netting around their main propeller blade. So we had two of my guys.
I saw that. I think. Did you send it?
I did. Yeah, it was on my Instagram.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah. So 3 days.
You're a nutcase.
It was 3 days straight, 4 hours underwater each day. 2 of my divers were back home in other provinces because it was Christmas break. So it was up to me and one other guy to go in and get it done. And my hands were like I was doing a decent amount of forearms too. My hands were sore for 2 days fucking straight, man. That's one thing I could feel my forearms afterwards.
Have you ever seen anything weird under there? Like you ever see like the odd shark? But have you ever seen like a body floating there, stuck under something or treasure? Have you sort of like, hey, look, somebody lost a nice something?
Like, what's that?
Have you seen
any doubloons? Any doubloons? Kraken.
Yeah.
You know,
Have you
Lee,
seen the Kraken?
it is very
A
common
mermaid?
to be asked
A
about.
mermaid? Anything? But yes, be
A
politically correct
merman?
these days.
As
A
as
non-binary fish.
as a professional diver, it is very common to be asked about three things. Have you ever seen a shark? Have you ever seen a body? Have you ever found any treasure? But I've never been asked if I saw all three at once. That's a new one. In 30 odd years, that's a new one for me.
Now, here's a question. When you're down there and the fish see you, do you think they go human? Because, when we're young, you'd finger pop a girl and go, oh, that smells like fish. You think like the little fish swim around and the male fish goes up to the female fish and he puts his little fin in her gill and he goes, you smell like human poo. Yeah.
Well, can fish smell? That's the question. Can they smell?
Well, we might smell to the fish too. So we could be the laughing stock
We
of the
smell like
fish. They might
onions.
think we stink. So they go, you smell like human.
Yeah. We touch them and get them out of the water. They're like, disgusting, disgusting.
Absolutely, we stink.
The fish are swimming in our feces by the sounds of it down there. So
So when you go hunting,
Yeah.
Unfortunately. Yeah, I'll end up seeing both where I go. Fuck. Oh, man, I'm not looking forward to that job.
someone
We'll see
comes
what
back with a
happens.
big fish, you ask them where they caught it. They say out there, you're like, oh, you caught that fish right near the shit pipe. I'm not eating that. So,
Yeah, you know too much, Kenson. You know too much.
I do, man.
Don't have those bottom feeders. Those bottom feeders.
There's certain
you're the
places
person
I'll
to
go
ask them.
fishing and
You're the
certain places I
person to
won't.
ask. They're always in the ocean. Is the ocean level rising? Are we going to be all underwater like Al Gore said? Or we should be underwater now, according to him, but they're not rising.
No, we'll be fine. I don't think so. I
So,
really don't.
Oyster farms, oyster people have had oyster farms for over 100 years, and oysters have to grow under a certain thing of water. And they're like, we've had this business into oysters for over 100 years. The water level hasn't changed over the oyster beds. So it's like,
you get really high tides where you are, Kenson.
Close to where I'm at are extremely high tides. We get like a meter to a meter and a half. You guys deal in yeah.
Oh, really? Is that it?
I know.
Where I'm at,
I know
you get
where
30
you're
feet.
at. Yeah. I
that's
know.
all.
I've dealt with that.
30 feet.
I
Tides.
It's a pain in the ass is what it is.
Crazy.
I was up near Nelson Bay yesterday. It's up like 40 minutes drive from me. Xavier probably knows Nelson Bay. And we got one of those.
I think I went up there, I think.
Yeah, you got the coast here and out here. There's this little island, but at low tide, you can walk out. And yesterday I was watching these people that must be thinking, I will get back in time.
Yep.
They got stuck on the island because the tide come back in and they had to get back to the mainland. I'm like, you fucking idiots.
Yep.
Was that there
Oh, yeah.
overnight?
Bad.
It must have been unless the boat went and got them, but they're like, oh, it's almost like half a kilometre out to the island.
I think it
the
goes
water
up and
comes
down
in.
twice.
They got a place.
Where's that place overseas where they actually built a bridge to go out there? They're like that. Used to be like mud flats or water, but it's like it almost comes in like the tide's like a mile or so difference, and when it's down, it's really low. But they finally built a road to go out to this like.
I saw that recently, and it goes underwater, doesn't it?
Yeah, but
does it go underwater?
Yeah, the road will almost go underwater too, but it's like a big monastery built on this rock, and you can walk out to it. I forget where it's like over the Italy or over that part of the world somewhere, but like they built this monastery out of the rock itself, and it's just like amazing how they built it. But to get there, it's like across the water. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember there's one road, but I think it's one of those things you just see on Instagram. Whereas road that goes underwater for certain periods of the day, and depending on the tides,
because it does get pretty water.
Yeah, it was crazy. I was like, because it actually showed it. It was like these cars going over, and the water's like right there, and it says for certain periods of the day, it actually goes underwater, and yeah, you can get caught like on the high tides. So yeah, well, that's it. Just weird and insane. Like, wouldn't you think there'd be fish that would get caught in there? What?
People talk about fires, but fires are destructing, but a wall of water, there's pretty much nothing stopping that. If it's a big wall of water, it's just coming. It's like,
yep, you're screwed.
Hey, Lee, did you see there was in New South Wales actually one of those massive pipes exploded about a week ago, and it was shooting into those houses. It was one of those giant, like enormous pipes.
I saw one and the water busted at one. At a car, that wasn't at a car park. I saw one in the car park not long ago, and the water busted. And just the water pressure, all these cars had the windows smashed out of them that were dinted in. I mean, it was just a mess. It's like,
Yeah, that's crazy. But I was looking at this one, and this was a huge pipe that was going up behind all these houses, like well up behind. It looked like in the, maybe like New South Wales mountains areas or something, and it was shooting from 100 meters away and hitting these houses and just smashing them. And there's a bunch of them. I'm like,
Wow.
how do they put a stop to this? They've obviously got to stop the water at some stage and do that. I'm like, but it's such a huge pipe. I'm like, to such a large area. I'm like, a lot of people are not getting water or something, because I'm like, it's people were posting, that infomercial ad where it's got the black thing and they slap it on like a leak. People are posting photos of that, and everyone's like, how do you stop this? how does this end?
thank you.
We need to have some valve.
Yeah, they'll have to shut it all off.
That reminds me, my water meter,
Gotta be a
out
valve
the house
somewhere.
leak. I just went to Bunnings to buy some of that, turn the water off and put that like welding water tape around the pipe, because it's right on the footpath here, and I think the mailman hit it with his bike, but I got to prove who hit it. So the people are like, well, if it's just naturally occurring, we'll fix it. But if you did or someone else did it, we're not paying for it. You have to pay for it. I'm like, well, fuck this. I'll just go get some of that tape and put around it for the time being.
Yeah. Yeah. I almost want like a pipe to crack so I can put something on there, like just to see how good it works. I want to buy those infomercial ones where you slap it on to see if it works.
Well, how's this? Speaking of pipes, the last few days, I was out the back, and like for about a month now, I'm like, what's that smell? It smells like a sewer pipe. And I'm thinking, oh, because my neighbor, he had like the people come over to do his sewer pipe. I think it must be that. But then I heard this water running. I said to the wife, turn the kitchen sink on again. I look under the house, where the kitchen sink goes down into the ground. The pipe's coming out of the house this far. The pipe from the ground's coming up, but in between there's a piece missing. So all that kitchen water's just emptying under the house. I'm like, where did the fucking middle of the pipe go? It's gone. It's not even under there. I'm like, where's the fucking pipe gone? It just disappeared.
Yeah, the water pressure in my kitchen has gone down. The water pressure in my kitchen has gone down to a third of what it is. I'm like, there's water leaking under there, because this pressure was building up in the taps, and every time I turn the tap on, it would explode out. And I'm like, there's something going on. I'm like, this is going to burst. And actually, like on the tap, on the way halfway up it, it's actually leaking a bit out of there too. And I think the pressure's bursting.
That's your tap do that when you turn on, go.
I've had that before too. I've had that, but not this. This is just like I just turn it on and go. Like, but it doesn't do it anymore. But I think it's because shit's broken. So I don't know how that's going to work out. But I'm sure there's some sort of leakage under the house or somewhere that I'm so nervous about. But
you'll find out eventually.
You gotta get a plumber. Kenson, you dealt with that last year. I remember, Kenson. Your something was leaking. I remember it caused you quite a bit.
I was only I was
during a podcast.
Yep,
right in the middle of a podcast.
I was slightly pissed off, to say the least.
Your kid come down. And he said, "Dad, it's leaking." Yep. You had to leave.
That did happen. The fucking that's one thing I hate fucking working on here. Like, I'll work on anything else around the house. I fucking hate working on that shit. I fucking hate it. Usually, I got no problem going and getting picked. It's not uncommon for ships to call us when it comes to like faulty valves or parts of pipes that need to be replaced for intakes or outfalls and things like that. We go and we'll stick a balloon in it, an inflatable balloon. They'll change out valves or whatever they have to do, and then we're on our merry way. I wish every fucking pipe could be that fucking easy. That's literally like a 20-minute job. You're sitting around on site for 20 minutes to dive, and it's like a 10-hour day usually for them to change these things out. It's easy money. Those ones I enjoy.
What's it like when you go down sometimes and you got to work on that stuff, and like some days, do you ever get like where visibility is very hardly anything? Where
Oh yeah, up here. All right, goodbye. Yeah,
you've shown us. You can't even see his hand at times.
Yeah, it's not an uncommon thing for some of the lakes that we work in, but even on the ocean side of things, a good day here in Cape Breton is 15 feet of visibility is fantastic. Most days, it's less than 10, which gets difficult when you've got to do things like we do wharf inspections for clients, and these things are several 100 meters long. So you have to take it basically 10 feet at a time. And ships coming in and out also create problems with visibility on a regular basis. So yeah, it's not like where you're at, man. I would kill for visibility like that. Like, life would be easy.
It seems the water is more
Australia's got
Oh,
some
man,
of
it's
the water where
delicious
down there.
your visibility down here is just how far can you see? You can pretty much see until.
It's a fucking
Wow.
dream.
Yeah, the ocean here, you cannot, even where I'm
Same
at,
thing,
Tenson,
man.
it's
Same
probably the
thing up
same. You
there.
can't, the water looks
Australia
gross.
would be I know guys that worked in Australia, and they're just like, they come here. One guy, I hired one kid out of the Bahamas. He came here and he was like, "Oh yeah, I got a dry suit. Like I'll be fine for the winter." He was here for 7 weeks. Back to the Bahamas. He's like, "I'm quitting, man. I'm done." He said, "I can't do it." The rest of the boys in my crew were like, "We don't fucking blame you." Like we're good, but nothing compared to the Bahamas or Australia. Like you just dress for it. We actually have hot water suits now, where you can like pump hot water down through the suit and it just flows out as it's not like a closed circuit system. It's just a continuous flow. Now try that in the middle of the winter. I was telling Dave about it,
Wow.
where the machine would actually shut down like halfway through a dive.
Would you
I
die?
mean, you would die if you didn't fucking book it back for the ladder. Yeah, you'd be dead pretty quick, probably minutes. Yeah,
You just piss in your suit when you're down there to
I'd
keep it
rather
warm.
stay home.
those ones. Yeah, oh yeah, yep. All the time. Oh man, tricks of the trade for wetsuits anyway. Yeah, for wetsuits. No, well, see, that's one of the things. If you're going to be underwater for 2, 3, 4 hours at a time, you actually have to you have to consider how much water you're drinking before that dive, because otherwise, getting in and out of the water is a pain in the ass. If you're like an hour in, you just want to stay in and you just suffer, you know. But a wetsuit, fucking let her flow. You're good to go.
So you're saying if you're lactose intolerant, don't have a milkshake before you go down and work diving.
No fucking sir. No. No, it's a science, man. It really is. Yeah, you really got to consider that stuff.
Yeah.
It's like
I
peaking
mean,
for a Rogan show.
be a very interesting job, that's for sure.
Oh, yeah, it is, man. It's nothing short of adventure. Mark, like Xavier, I've sent you a fair bit of shit too. It is, man. It's a life of adventure. Like it really is. Yeah,
I feel
I
like you
enjoy
should
it.
do a YouTube channel off this, like a YouTube channel, like with
Helicopter.
like a GoPro, but if it's not very visible as well, that sort of hurts it a bit too. So, but
I had a
talking about it
couple
for
of
2
people
minutes
say
and then
that to
just
me.
If Blair
things like
Witch
that,
Project
right?
made all that fucking money with fucking someone running around the bush with a camera, this would be more exciting underwater. God.
And that's the thing.
They did make
No
quite a bit
one
of
thinks
money off
that
that
their
movie.
own life is that exciting. But I remember when initially when Aaron Singman started doing like videos and Dave Palumbo started doing videos, and they would go to cities around the world, like they go to Prague and cover that show. And the first day they're there, they do a video of the whole day of what they do. I loved those videos, and they got a lot of views actually back then. So
Well,
I was like,
you're right. You're right. It's like those Battle for the Olympia videos where, like how many times can you watch a guy do bench press or squats and that? The main exciting part of those were the stuff at home. What do they do in their everyday life? And they're not training. How they interact with the family, walking the dogs. And when I do that, that's what people are more interested in, because people now say, look, can you do a training video doing arms? I'm like, if I go do a video now doing arms, it'll be just like every other video I've done since the age of 13. I still do barbell curl, dumbbell curl. I just look a lot shittier now. I've got more tattoos. I got older. That's the only thing that's changed. The exercises haven't changed. I'm just deteriorating away. So, it's like... And then when you do,
I would love to be.
Oh, you look like
I would love to
now.
look like your. I'd love to look like your deteriorated self, Lee. Trust me, I would.
I went to that car show yesterday. I went to 2 car shows, and my wife's mad. You didn't wear sunscreen, did you? I'm like, I didn't think it was that hot. It was like 32 degrees, but I got a bit red again. Standing
Holy fuck.
Big. That's my natural color. I start laughing and I just turn red. Literally, people probably notice on my podcast. As soon as I start laughing, or if I hold it in, I just go literally redder than you are now, Lee.
I'm very sensitive to caffeine and stuff like that. Even just normal caffeine, I can have coffee and be sitting there and just keep getting these flushes all the time, like as if you had niacin. I can just feel the heat coming. I'm like, and being a bodybuilder, you must have high blood pressure. Look at you. I'm like, oh, okay, that's what it is, doctor. Thank you.
I actually took niacin for the first time in years the other day. I had a capsule and I opened up half of it because I'm like, no way I'm doing a full one, because anything that could make your face red will make my face so red. So I took half of it. It was still bad. It was because I'm like, I'm not going out of the house. I'm not recording video.
Take Viagra, Xavier.
Oh my god!
Purple.
Every bloke's tried it. Yeah, it's like, yeah, like.
I remember taking
Yeah.
Viagra once. I'm not sure if the tablets blue, but my vision became that clear. It was that bright. But then everything had this blue haze to it. I'm like, everything's looking blue. And apart from my head pounding, my eyes like they're going to pop out of my head. I was just like, wow, I got clear vision.
It's the blue coming through of a tablet. It's just coming out through your vision.
Talking of blue tablets, remember when they drug tested, I think it was the 98 one, when they said they're going to do diuretic testing at the Olympia. So Flex and I, they had these water retention pills for women when they do their period, and they're blue tablets. And I said to Flex, this really worked, but you got to take a lot of them. So I was taking them, he's taking them. We go to do our urine test, and it looks like fucking blue Gatorade because all the dye from the tablets is in our piss, and the test is like, I said, the Flex, was yours blue too? He's like, you're like, what? We're fucking Smurfs. So piss of blue.
I wonder if even
like we're weird.
I even wonder
What,
if
they
like
didn't
natural
accept
stuff
that,
like
did
that
they?
back then.
Yeah, it was still a urine. You know, I just said, look, we're taking these water pills. They're a natural diuretic, but they're blue coated tablets. And I mean, I remember if you drink too much Gatorade, blue Gatorade, I remember the first time I did that, I took a crack. And I'm like, why is my shit looking all this green color all of a sudden? I was like, what the fuck? Like, I'm dying inside, or eat orange roughy, or that crap that comes out the orange roughy. You're like, am I shitting my guts out? Are my intestines coming out of my stomach? It's like,
that's so funny.
Fuck. No, vitamin B does that. Any amount of vitamin B. I had a guy who's he started a supplement company down in Louisiana called Bayou Muscle, and he wanted me to just try his stuff. So he sent me creatine, he sent me pre-workout, he sent me glutamine, and he sent me protein. And I tried the pre-workout. I'm still going through it now. I'm going to give him my feedback on what I think of it. But the day I took it, I mean, it was good. Like, it worked well. I went to take a piss, and I was like, what the fuck? I was like, that's awful yellow. I was like, I drank a fair bit of water. Went back, drank more water as I always do. Second piss, third piss. I was like, what the fuck's going on here? And then I was like, this is... I actually went to Kristen, and I was like, I got to get a hold of this guy and tell him, like, that heavy dye's got to go. Like, that's not what people do for pre-workouts these days. And yeah, Xavier, you're right. I looked at it, like 5 or 6 kinds of B vitamins on there. I was like, you motherfucker. I was like, okay.
Like, it's that bright. You're like piss in the dark. It'd be like a lightsaber. It'd be glowing. Yeah. It's that bright.
I'm back on the B vitamins at the moment. There, I take them in the morning and midday. I have them, and yeah. Only the nighttime ones are the clears, Yeah.
Yeah.
Rest of like flora.
You will never look hydrated ever again. Man, that's what guys do to try and pass their piss test when they water it down. It's the B vitamins.
How's your job? With your job diving, do you have to get like regular medicals and that, or just yearly, or?
Yeah, so up until you're 40, you have to go twice a year and do a full medical with an approved diving physician. And past 40, you have to go every year. Certain mine sites that we work at up north, they'll have you do another medical. For certain boat operations, they'll have you do a mariner's medical. So most times our dive medical is accepted, but especially like going to the Arctic and going to certain mine sites there, they'll have you go to one of their approved doctors. And oftentimes you'll have to be drug tested in order to get there, because they don't fuck around when it comes to the high Arctic. Those are the
what
really
do they test for? They're not testing for PEDs, are they? They just test them for narcotics and stuff.
Amphetamines, so you don't go down there wired. Like,
yeah.
You don't want,
like,
they just.
Sir, you have over 1,000 tests. This is not going to fly with us.
Hard to keep that mouthpiece in when you're clenching your jaw.
I'm fine.
One of my divers was actually approved. He's on TRT, and he was approved to go to the Arctic with his TRT dose.
Okay.
Ah,
yeah.
Nice.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. I know people would have brought their prescription to Australia, but because it's not on the bottle, it has to be on in Australia for. Well, I'm not going to show anything. Stallone. Yeah, Stallone. He wouldn't have had it on the GH, but was that prescribed? It was, wasn't it?
Yeah, prescribed from his doctor. Yeah, but the news down here, Stallone caught with drugs, blah blah blah. It's like it was prescribed. Because
I
They
remember
said
that.
he wasn't allowed to have it, even though it's prescribed. But yeah, but the whole news didn't say it was GH. They said drugs, illegal drugs alone,
Oh,
illegal.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then they're going human growth
Red
hormone. And it
Bull.
just sounds, or they're like importing, and it's like importing. It's like huge amounts. It's like huge amounts. Probably had a kit,
trafficking. Yeah.
you know
Oh,
what
yeah.
I mean?
Such a
He's
danger
never
to
he's
the
never
world.
forgiven me for bringing it down
Yeah.
for me. Maloney, if he can bring it in for me, that'd be great. He's never forgiven me for asking him to bring it down.
Man, it's crazy how that
Still on
shit gets so
certificates.
blown up. Like now, even still to this day, like mainstream media will blow shit like that up. It's like people are not. I like to believe that people aren't that stupid anymore. Gullible, I think maybe 20 years ago when it comes to me. Yeah, see, I know, right? You kind of got to tug
Like I
your
said,
collar when you say shit
People
like
are
that,
dumber
right?
now, I find.
That's
they're
my
much dumber
optimism
now.
for
Much
humanity
dumber
coming
now.
through. Got to get
Well,
the
the thing
fuck
in
rid of
Australia
that.
too is you get caught. I remember this guy got caught, and I knew him, and I knew he took a little bit of gear. But when he got caught, it was on the news, and they're like, he was found with 1,000 steroids. I'm thinking, fuck that. I don't think he's ever taken that many. But what they do here is if you've got a bottle of Dianabol, you've got 100 tabs. Every tab they'll class as one. So they'll say
Ooh,
100,
fuck.
Yeah.
100
That's
drugs.
crazy.
It's like, it's 100 tabs. It's not, but they'll class every tablet as a single item. So when they read out this guy's list, it sounded like he had this monstrosity of big thing. I think it's 3 bottles and 2 bottles of this. It's like, come on, he wasn't as bad as it sounded.
Yeah, it's so funny. It
Yeah,
was
they do
I
that all
loved
the
it when they did the big busts in
drug bust.
Queensland. Lee, do you remember when they came down hard on the PEDs? Yeah,
Yeah,
and
you sent me that
they
video. Yeah.
it was I think
Yeah.
they uh, raided. So mind you, this costs a lot of money to do, and they're busting down people's doors. Or they're like, "Police, we're coming in!" And they're running in with the dogs. And they said a street value was like $52,000. And it's like, well, you've made that fee up. How much this would cost? Plus $50,000 across 12 guys that probably the comps is probably not that crazy in Australia. And it was probably 35 grand US. And it's like, well done. How much did this cost you? Millions of dollars to take it to do, and then we've got to take them to court. It's millions of dollars this costs, and then they put it out there with all their videos. It's like, oh my God.
The guy on the radio this morning, did you hear him? Was in Sydney. He got caught driving a van. This is what's so dumb. They wouldn't have caught him otherwise, but they pulled him over because he was driving a bit weird. So they tested him positive for methamphetamine. So they looked in his car. He had only 3,000 in cash, but 30 kilos of ice. So people do not use the product if you're driving the vehicle. Right?
No.
It had a street value of like $30 million. Yeah. He got busted because he was driving all erratic, high as a kite.
Probably not the guy you want shifting your stuff. That's like something out of Breaking Bad or something, Like, think about as much as it's like obviously a bad crime and you're never going to get this, but if someone had a video following that guy for the last like 3 days leading up to that, to get to that point, you'd just love to know the story. Like you'd love to know everything for fact. Just a video.
Once you get to that point and you're fucked up, you never think you're fucked up. It's like the times I've done coke before, I think I'm fine. Then I've walked into the bathroom to take a piss and my medicine cabinet's above the toilet. I'm looking in the mirror. My eyes are like a fucking raccoon. I'm like, it's funny.
Oh my God.
But in my mind, I'm thinking, I'm fucking normal. I've done it before. My wife got home, I've done a few lines, and she'd be like, you've done something, haven't you? I was like, no, I'm fine. I haven't done anything. She goes, you fucking have. I can see it all over your face. And I go look in the mirror, and I'm like, oh, no wonder she can tell. Here, I'm thinking I'm hiding it really good.
Yeah. It's like drinking yourself sober.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had I actually told my mother this the other day, that when I was young, me and my friends, I think, because I didn't understand alcohol, right? I didn't understand how strong certain alcohols were. So it was after school one day. I think I was walking home, started raining, knocked on my friend's door. I think we played basketball that afternoon after school. Knocked on his door and he answers. And I think I had food from cooking from school and said, oh, let's cook this stuff up. And he's like, hey, do you want to get some of my sister's alcohol off the top of the fridge and have some? I was like,
date for Tasmania.
No,
carry on.
It's not that romantic, but so we didn't understand. We thought a drink was basically like you mix some of the straight stuff together and you have a drink, in a glass, a full size 300 ml or so glass. So we mixed all the straight stuff together, just a little bit of everything so no one would notice. Full glass of like probably 35% alcohol. So we're talking like maybe 6-7 shots in one.
Sure.
And just we both shotted one of them each, and we just went from normal to drunk at like 15 years
on the
old
floor.
or something, or 14 or something. I don't know. We were young, and then we started ringing people from school, and we were singing Bob Marley. It was like it was a whole thing. And then anyway, where I was going,
like that video before my seminar in Mississippi, where I got that video of me and Jimmy and all them having those Long Island iced teas before the seminar. We're trying to sit on stage and do a seminar.
I saw that one.
Well, I'm trying not to look at Jimmy now. Every time I look at him, I start laughing. I'm thinking, because normally I've had Long Island iced teas before and they're watered down, but this woman made them that strong. I had one, I'm thinking, fuck, I can sort of feel a bit weird. And Jimmy's looking at me because Jimmy drinks a bit. So he's used to drinking, being from New York, a Teamster truck driver. And we had a second one, and Jimmy stood up and he crashed into the wall. I'm like, oh, funny, that's funny, Jimmy. And Jay goes, no, I feel fucked up. So he went and got another one. So we've had 3 of them now. This girl was putting 7 shots in each one. The time we're walking to the seminar, I'm like, oh, fuck, this is getting worse. It's getting worse.
They're strong as it is.
I said, we've got to do a seminar, Jimmy. We're laughing, and Greg Valentino's laughing. John Romano, he's had just as many. And we're thinking, who fucking was just drinking for the seminar?
So you were having double Long Island iced teas, because normally they have like 3.5 shots in a Long Island iced tea. So you had 7.
I've been giving you 7. I said, no wonder it hit so hard. And
so when you had 2, you had 4, which is like 3.5.
I don't drink. I don't like alcohol. If it's disguised, I can sort of drink it in a fruity drink. But alcohol itself, the thought of it makes me sick. But she had it disguised pretty well. I could taste it a little bit, but not to the point you'd be like, oh, it's really strong. But man, when we get to that, the closer we got to the seminar, the worse it was getting. And when they announced us to come on stage, I'm thinking, I can't fucking go up there. I'm laughing my head off at Jimmy, and Jimmy just looking at me going, what the fuck have we done? I'm like, just get out there and be professional. Come on.
Yeah, Dave hated you guys after that one. Dave must have been pissed as hell, man.
I know. And then we went out for dinner after that. At dinner, we're having more drinks. It was getting worse and worse. That's where that video of me on the street in Dave's jacket talking to the people on the street. Fuck, that's
yeah, Dave's trying to keep his composure, like he's not pissed. I was like, he is pissed as hell. Like he is ready to go the fuck home. He can't wait for this to be fucking done.
Ask me to go on the shows anymore.
I was gonna say it was in around then that you didn't get the invites anymore. Yeah. Yeah, somebody actually asked that question on Ask Dave. It's like, why isn't Lee been coming on anymore? And Dave was like, oh, we just haven't been able to match up schedules lately.
But I went on today, and I went on today with Sid on because I got up early now doing the live bit with the contest in Prague. So I went on for about an hour there. So
yeah, I caught a little bit of it after the show. I usually try to get a little bit of a feel on how everybody around, the bodybuilding world reacted. So yeah, I saw that. Who else did I see? I watched Evan's video, and Matt's I caught a couple seconds of because I pretty much knew what he thought about it anyway. But Superset Man was super pissed. That was really something. It seems like everybody's either on the fence of it could have went either way, or Chris was completely fucking robbed. That seems to be one of the two opinions.
Well, it's like anything. To me, I think Martin deserved to win. If they go on by bodybuilding criteria, it'd be like if Martin went and done the classic Olympia or something with Chris, they'll be judging classic criteria. So Martin wouldn't win in the classic division, just like Chris shouldn't win in the bodybuilding division because it's different criteria that for. So
yeah, I don't disagree.
Isn't
with
it crazy though that he can sort of fit both?
Yeah,
it is.
It's like I said on the show. I think he looks great, but to me, when I see someone that height, I want to see like Dillette type muscle on him because Dillette still had a great physique, small waist, big legs. So see someone around the 6'1", I want to see him a lot bigger. Whereas Chris to me looks good, but he looks more like how Barry Domain them were, really beautiful and lines, but not overly massive.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
You think Chris could do it?
Yeah.
I think if he had like an
earlier
year
Gary
or so of just solid hard training for an open, but then with his he has those little health problems and that. To me, it's like he's making so much money doing other stuff. Yes, it would be great to see. The fans would like to see it, but let's just say he did and he won a big open show or even the Open Olympia. At what cost? Okay, you've won the Open Olympia, but now you got permanent damage somewhere else. Is it really worth it in the long run? So I think he's like
he does have a lot of injuries too.
He does.
Yeah,
If
not
you
worth
go
it,
through
Chris.
Chris's
That's
injuries,
for sure.
I broke it down. He has a ton. Like he mentioned in his videos, like all the little things he's got. And I'm like, I put it on a. I've actually got to do a video on this, and I've been into almost every part of his body is something like strained this, torn this. It's like,
That'd be interesting.
yeah. And I pointed to it, and I'm like, yeah,
Oh, it's hamstring,
hamstring.
right?
It's like
Hamstring,
bicep. It's like there's like he had a
Bicep.
shoulder things. He yeah, a whole bunch of stuff. And when you point to his whole physique, there was something to do with his lat,
Hair transplant.
That went wrong. He's got to have that
That'll slow
redone.
you down.
No, joking. No,
No,
I've been
it's
trying to
true, though,
regrow
man.
mine. I'm trying to regrow my slightly.
What do you mean trying to
Declining
regrow? You've got
took your hat off the other
you've
day.
got-
You had big hair hanging down there, Xavier.
your
Like
hair?
you had some.
Yeah.
yeah.
It looked like a messed up broccoli hair type thing going on there. What the hell is that? Oh, you look like one of the
I can
I can
do it.
lend you some if you want. I have a
you look
growth.
like one of the Backstreet
I'm not
Boys.
broccoli head. Thank you. Thank you.
He does. He does. Yeah, he does.
You can go replace the guy that
home
jumped
repair
off the
show,
balcony.
the former Backstreet.
What guy? What are we talking about? I'm lost.
And those guys go off the balcony on that drug fueled whatever happens from Take That or whoever it was. Whatever.
Liam, whatever his name is.
You go replace him with that hair.
Yeah, shit.
Xavier-
Yeah, it probably does look a bit like him, doesn't it?
Yeah, it looks. I'll
It's
say
like-
it. Yeah, it looks gay. It looks gay, Xavier. It looks gay.
Thank you. Thank you. I haven't done my hair.
Do a flat top or something. Get into it. Come on, go
A
military.
flat top. Look at my hair. It's like it's wavy.
Throw it out. Throw it out.
You know who you look
Look
like?
at
You
you
look like
throwing
who
it
are
out.
those, who are those comedians?
It is long.
Holy shit.
There's those two comedians. Who are those two
It
comedians?
is
The
pretty
something
long.
brothers, Smothers
It is
brothers, or someone, or something brothers.
Sm-
No,
Brothers, brothers. I remember.
there's two
All right.
comedians. One of
I could
them
do
got
some
hair.
skits. I feel like I could do some skits, you know, like I could do a woman pretty good. That sounds weird.
It's something you want to tell us, Dave. This is your thing. We're here for you, brother.
I've got-
Just come on
I've
out.
got heels on right now. No, I'm joking. I'm joking.
You're trans. You're trans. We knew it. We
Men's
knew it.
wellness. Men's wellness.
You're announcing
Xavier
bikini
Wills
No, you know those
next
apps
transitioning
where it
revealed.
Xavier reveals.
Real
Oh,
new gender revealed.
Yeah.
I was
I
actually
think that's a video I wouldn't make, man.
it's so funny like talking to my friends and stuff like on all the dating apps. Oh, it's like a flex to be liberal, like especially in Tasmania. And they're like not one of them, like because you can list your political view. It's either like not political or liberal down here. Every single one, every single female. It's like crazy because it's just where Tasmania is like hippie, you know what I mean? Which is good. I like hippies, but they're like
Come on,
hippies
tell them
with
what
all
it's
sorts of
really-
genders.
What it's really known for.
Pansexuals.
What's it really known
Inbred.
for? Like the Appalachians. Yeah.
Yeah. I was dating someone once, and then the mum decides to try to be funny and say, "Oh, you two are actually cousins." And it's like distant through marriage or something. So there's no blood relation,
Mm.
but there's
So
some
you
technical relation.
They had a kid together. It spawned with one eye in the middle of the forehead, and
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
like the
Mind's
hills have
eye.
eyes. The hills have eyes. Fam.
Get the banjos out.
The old banjo.
No. These days, that means.
Speaking
that
of
means
which,
you're
Mark
with it,
probably
man.
lives in. Mark's probably in a so much more secluded location than I'm in right now. I live near like a city, small city.
Yeah, but he's in
Story's
witness
probably the tallest building.
protection. Though.
Oh, I'm in the middle of
He's
the
in
woods.
witness
I'm
protection
in the
with an
middle of the
ankle
woods.
bracelet. We can't mention that there, Xavier.
Yeah, exactly. If I walk too far, it starts beeping. So stay close.
I could tell somebody where I live.
I
and they'd
would.
never find me.
Really?
I would.
Never
Oh,
find me.
I'd be able to.
Yeah, you might.
No, I would for
You're from
sure.
around here.
I would for sure. I've done some work up there. We're easy to. It's
Yeah, St. John.
yeah.
I'm
We're
an
not
hour away
like
from St.
here
John.
isn't like a big city type thing, but it's not small either. Like it's
What's
a
the
decent. It's a
population?
decent size. What's the population? Population in Nova Scotia is like 900 odd thousand. I don't know what it is for Cape Breton or even the surround. I'm not
Okay,
fucking sure. I
big
never really
million.
concerned myself with it. What's
The
that?
population of Tasmania state, I think, is 500,000. The whole state.
500,000? Okay.
which is
Okay.
the island. You know
That's
what I mean?
sure.
So when you look at a
And
map, it's like,
400,000 are related. So that lets you know that.
yeah.
Yeah, Xavier knows.
It's actually
He's
funny.
looking
We
it
have a
up
lot of
now.
imports down here now. A lot of imports, like a lot of Asian cultures and like
Well,
Brazilians and
yeah,
a lot of
Tasmania's a
South
beautiful.
Americans down here, actually. A lot of South Americans. Big fan.
They'd get a shock thinking, "Oh, Tasmania's down south will be warm." All of a sudden, they get the Arctic breeze blowing through.
That's what they all say as well. They're like, "Oh, it's so cold." I'm like, "Yeah, it is."
Yeah. Wait till
It's
they
like
move up here.
Tasmania's pretty
People
much your
don't
last
like the
stop
weather
before
up here.
Antarctica. So
It is. Yeah, it is. Tasmania, where I live, is actually I'm closer to Antarctica than I am to Darwin in Australia.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, we're not
distance-wise.
far from the U.S. border here, relatively speaking, right? And every 4 years when the U.S. election happens, it doesn't matter who wins or who loses, there's always an uptick of Americans looking to immigrate to Canada every single year. In fact, when
Oh, really?
Trump was first running for office back in 2016, somebody created a website here for Americans that were interested in coming specifically to Cape Breton. So it would give you all the information on what it's like here, the economy, and then it would come to the weather
uh,
when it came to the winter season. And people were like, fuck that. Not doing
Yeah.
it.
people
We
putting up
have a
signs. Welcome Whoopi Goldberg. Welcome Rosie O'Donnell. Welcome all you dickheads from the Hollywood industry.
I heard Whoopi Goldberg's moving
Really?
up here. I'd be Whoopi's neighbor. Yeah, why not? I used to watch Sister
Yeah, that
Act
was
all the
good.
time.
Yeah.
Sister Act
Ghost,
was a good
Yeah.
film.
Ghost back in the day.
the one where she was a
Yes, she was in
basketball
Ghost
coach.
too. I forgot about. I would razz her. I would razz
She
her.
used to be married to. What's
Yes,
his
I
name?
do.
I don't remember that one.
Who was the actor that played Skeletor in the
Danson?
He-Man with Dolph
Oh,
Lundgren? That
I love
actor.
that
She was
movie.
married to him for a long time. Yeah, I think so.
Wasn't
But
she with
she's with
Ted
that other actor
Danson?
for a long time. The one that played Skeletor in He-Man. What's his name? You know him for sure. He's got the deep voice a bit, and
Yeah, if I heard his name,
I
I'd
can
know
even
it.
see him, but I
I
can't think
can't
of the
think
name.
of.
I hate that.
Yeah,
Courtney
Courtney
Cox was in that
His
movie.
name isn't Courtney Cox.
No.
No,
Um,
no.
It was
No,
actually, I did look it up earlier. Martin Ford, he's playing Shao Kahn in Mortal Kombat.
Okay.
Yeah. That makes a lot of sense. That makes a lot of sense. He'd be a really good Shao Kahn, I bet. Man, I'm looking forward to that now. I got to look up more info on that. I didn't even know that was happening.
Yeah. Speaking of things, they finished filming probably
I like the
2 months or
main.
more ago now, so I think it's
Oh,
due for release.
fucking right.
Oh, is that
Oh,
all? He's that there already ages ago.
I like that bad guy in Mortal
Yeah,
Kombat
but I
1.
think because they were filming, then they had that strike, so he left for a couple of months and came back to finish it up.
Yep. Okay. Yeah.
Oh, Lee, here's a good one for you. My one of the boats that I actually own, that the company owns, was contracted by a movie production company here in order to do a film, which was about some lobster fishermen from a community down from here back in the 1980s that would go and actually they were approached to smuggle cocaine. So they would take it ashore and it would go into caskets, and there was a whole thing about it. But since it was based in the 80s, they needed a boat that would have similar characteristics of that. And mine's been done over a number of times when it comes to the hull. But my boat was pretty close to something you would find like mid 90s kind of thing. And they were like, fucking close enough. They came on board the ship and the producers were like looking around. They were like, oh yeah, this is it. So my boat is going to be in a film here coming up as the drug smuggling boat.
Did you say, can I be like a cameo and be the captain of the boat?
You know what? Actually, we've been so fucking busy. I didn't even get to go on the site for a fucking single day. I sent my father out there to run the boat because Dad owned this company before me, so I put him to work every so often. He enjoys it, I swear. But yeah, I didn't even get out there. So he loved it though.
Did your dad start the company? Did he or?
Yeah, back in 1991. Yeah. In fact, Dad actually, it's funny because I didn't realize it until after I really started doing this. Dad was a big influence on me when it came to YouTube because Dad actually did 10 seasons on our local cable TV show called Cape Breton Diver. It was just
Okay.
about diving in Cape Breton. It got picked up nationally
Wow.
too. So 10 straight
Oh, that's
seasons.
cool.
He did like 80. Yeah,
Huh.
it did like 80 episodes or something nuts. A few of them are on YouTube. I'll have to send them to
Pretty
you.
cool, yeah.
Those guys, that's why I think your job would be interesting, because they have those
Yeah,
other
it's
ones
pretty
about
cool.
the fishermen that go out on the trawlers. They have all these other reality type shows. So yours would be an interesting one.
Yeah, and you can do like
And we
music as
do-
well. Like, so even when you're diving, you could have like some music and like, like it doesn't have to just be. You could even Sam Sulek it.
Do the
I've
Jaws
I've
music.
made promo
Yeah,
videos
yeah.
for the company of different operations that we would do with some music over it. Not Jaws. That'd be too ominous. But yeah, I've done a couple like that, like underwater welding and burning and salvage and things like that. Like put the clips together and put some music. Yeah, I've done a few of those. They're actually pretty good.
And when you
Yeah.
have that job,
This bull bar foot.
oh, the bull bars here, just out in the driveway there. Is it a big box?
Yeah, it's fucking big.
Fucking heavy. You can do it, baby.
Yeah.
You're half drunk. You can lift it.
Over there, do you want to?
My bull bar for the turned up. You do it, baby. And I'm not doing that because I'm being male chauvinistic. I believe in women's rights, and I believe you can do anything I can do. So move the fucking bull bar. Thank you. Equality. But in the
Equal
diving, did you
opportunity.
ever watch those movies back in the day? That movie Deep Star 6, Leviathan. Have you seen all those movies?
No, I haven't seen those. No.
Watch it. Deep Star 6 has a few good actors in it. They go down, there's like an underwater mining station, but there's this creature down there that starts eating them like aliens. And then Leviathan is very similar too. There's this creature down there, Leviathan and Deep Star 6.
Yeah.
Very good underwater movies, very good. They got the big diving suits on, the real big helmets, the ones, and they go down. Yeah.
Oh, those are
The
those are
old-fashioned ones, yeah.
Yeah, so
yeah,
if you,
those are
if you
Martin
Google,
Lawrence, yeah.
if you Google Deep Star 6 and Leviathan, really two good horror movies that underwater.
Yeah, I found Deep Star 6 here. Yeah. I'll find Leviathan too. I'll
But
check
has
those
got a
out.
picture of the diving suit cut in half, the body cut in half on the diving suit.
Oh, fucking hell. I've seen a
So
number
if you
of
go
different
down,
movies.
you'll be looking around like this for the monster. You'll be like,
There was one on Netflix called Last Breath, and it was about a commercial diver that ended up almost running out of air. Long story short, and everybody since that video has been coming to me like, "Did you see that movie? Did you see that movie?" Yeah, I saw it, and they're like, "Man, what you do is really dangerous." I was like, "What I do isn't comparable to that. These guys are offshore. It's like I was like, it's not the same shit.
was
It's not the
that the
same
reality
shit."
one? There was a like a reality one. They made a movie out of it where some of them got stuck down there in one of those diving bells. Where you can go inside to get the oxygen inside, and somehow the cable snapped or something, and they had to wait to be rescued, and they're running out of air. They're inside the diving bell.
Jesus. See, stuff
Yeah,
like that.
I
I
heard
can't
of
watch
that
stuff
one.
like that. I get too into it. Like it's when there's
Really?
like that anticipation and it leads up to it too much, and it's like causes too much anxiety for me watching. Like I can't handle watching. You know, the cave diving when they're in fine spaces. Oh my god! The whole time I'm tense. Like I'm like, oh my god,
And
they're going to get stuck in there, and then
take tanks off and push the tank through first, and then try go follow the tank. I'm thinking, there's no backing up here. You got to keep going forward. It's like,
and then it's showing the diagrams of like it shows their body how it just fits in the space of the thing, and then they're like, oh, but then the light went out and they couldn't see, and then they lost the rope. And I'm like, oh, you just had to hang on to the rope, man. like,
imagine like one part of your suit just gets stuck on a rock, and there you are. You're like, oh shit.
oh, see, yeah, I would. That would be the worst way to die, just running out of oxygen in one of those caves and just being like that. You feel like a fish or something dying in a rock or something, stuck in a rock.
I've met
water.
guys that have gotten stuck. Yep,
Yeah.
I've met them.
Oh.
They made it out, but yeah, it's pretty scary
Obviously.
shit. Yep.
I've met them. Like they're a totally different
You
person.
would be.
But those guys will keep doing it.
The
But
real
they'll keep
them.
doing it, man. Yeah, they'll be in the water next week.
Well, it's just like that guy from the Antarctica there, that Shackelford guy.
Yeah.
He kept doing what he did. He tried to find the North Pole
Yeah.
after that, and I think he ended up dying.
100%,
It's like bodybuilders,
man.
really, isn't it?
Survived that, and then he
have a heart
Should
attack
have
and
quit
make it
running.
back on. There's another cycle.
On your head.
Suckers for punishment. There's one more show coming up this season, actually. For Open.
Spain.
Which one is it? Spain. Yes, the Big Man Weekend. Yeah.
Mr. Big,
No,
Mr. Big, or
I
Big?
think
Teams
it's the
that.
Big Man Weekend.
It's a stupid name. Either way, it's a dumb name for a contest. Big Man or
Yeah.
Mr.
It is pretty bad.
There's multiple.
The only other Mister. It's the only other Mister besides Mr. Olympia.
Because there's the Mr. Big
It is pretty
Evolution. There's a Big Man Weekend,
Universe.
and
Big Man
is there one
Weekend.
other big one? Yeah.
One of them's the Spain. One of
Yeah.
them's
Is
the
Spain
show.
Well,
Alicante
Akeem
as
is doing
well?
that.
I think.
Yeah. Yeah. One. I
So
know
it's
there's
so
at least
funny
one in
that-
Alicante.
So that show gets called the Alicante Pro, the Spain Pro, and then also the Big Man, whatever it is, or the Mr. Big. It's like
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
many names. Yeah, Yamamoto, probably
Yamamoto
Yamamoto too.
But that's the last one for
Sure.
open for
Yeah.
qualifiers for 2025 for this year.
Is there a list of
Oh,
anyone
okay.
who's doing it you know of? Or?
Akeem's in.
I
That's
know
all I've-
Akeem. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
I thought
Yeah,
he
I know
looked good in that
Akeem.
last show he was in. I thought he would have come close to winning that last one.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. He
I
was
think the
very
only
close.
thing is the lats have retracted. I saw some photos. They have retracted up his back a bit, but the rest, everything else is
That's what
so
I mean.
much
When they
better.
say
You know?
pose the one from the back, okay, let's just say you've got a shitty back. Every other pose is fantastic. So somebody could have a shit
6
back,
out of 8.
but then all their other poses suck. So to me, this winning from the back is bullshit.
Yeah, yeah, I
Unless
agree.
the judges just like looking at tight asses. Not saying.
I just think that those two shots, like from the back, just hurt him that bit so he places where I think he should. You know what I mean? I don't think he gets overlooked. I think he places exactly sort of in general where he should, but I think it's sometimes he has been overlooked as well. Like prejudging
because like,
Arnold.
let's just say his
this
back
year.
is a little off to someone else. His other shots, the side shots, everything else are so overpowering to other people. To me, that would still give him a win. Okay, you're a little bit off here. You're not bad,
Yeah.
but maybe you're not as good. But everything else, you're light years ahead. So
Yeah, I think he'll probably win. I'm just trying to think of who else is in this show. Is Baru's in it or something? No, I don't think so.
I don't know.
I seen somebody
don't know.
posted that they were doing the show.
Amir, is Amir doing it?
I forget
He
who
did it
was.
last year.
Oh
Took
yeah,
second.
probably, yeah.
That wasn't who I seen. I seen somebody with a
Raf
fairly
isn't
big
doing it, is
name
he?
said they were doing it.
No, he's done. He's shutting it down, man. You won't see
I
him
think,
on
I think,
stage.
I think-
Kai Green's doing it. Let's start the rumor. Kai Green's doing it.
Yeah,
Kai Green does
I'm
every
back.
show.
Who, Kai
Well,
Green?
I think that's how it's going to be now with Chris. Chris and Kai Green are going to be the same. Are they going to do a comeback? Are they going to
man.
compete again?
well, they joked about that, didn't they? I think on Fuad's
Big
podcast,
Grammy.
maybe,
Did
or
they?
somewhere. Yeah, I think that was. I think Ian was saying like, no, I know when Chris was on there, they said something about like he's like, I'll just say maybe every year or something. And they're like, oh yeah, you'll lean into the Kai Green thing. So it's funny that you said that. Like, it's like, yeah.
No,
That show
Chris
comes
is
I
too
think
old
I'm
for me.
always joking about
Chris would just start dieting as the show gets closer when people see him get leaner. I think he's doing it. I think he's doing it.
that.
Yeah. He'll still say maybe for like ever.
Mhm.
Just leave everything
Yeah.
open ended. He's Chris was straightforward with today. I'm done. Except you can't believe him. It's just
yeah, next step,
man.
2026. It's
Yeah.
happening.
Like you
Trust
said,
me.
hey,
It's
You call
How
it
many
here
times was
first, man.
Elton John, the Rolling Stones? How many times? This is our last concert ever. Come on out.
yeah,
And a year later,
yeah.
we're doing another tour. Another year later, we're doing another tour. It's like, yeah.
Well, isn't the most infamous one out here, Lee, like the John Farnham? He's like
Oh, yeah,
the last, and he always calls every tour like the last stand, the last time, one more time, and it's like he's had so many of these one more time,
Right,
one last
13th.
time, the last one, and it's
The only
like
thing that stopped him-
at what
the only thing
point?
that stopped him was when he got that cancer in his jaw and had to get part of his jaw removed. And that now that's the thing that finally stopped him. I think.
Oh yeah, that's right, yeah. He'll
Yeah, he
do it
said
through
it's a
AI
big
now.
case.
One more
I'm gonna
time.
take your jaw away for lying to the people. I shall remove your jaw. Be gone. You'll never sing again.
Though he'll just
Huh.
AI it now, you know what I mean? He'll be able to put a big screen, like
Well, look at the Rolling Stones; they're still going. But it's like how who's that guy on the Rolling
Jagger's still running
Stones? Is
across
it
the street.
Keith Richards, whoever, who was on the Pirates of the Caribbean movie? How that fucker's still alive with all the drugs he's done and shit. It's like
wild.
he must be
Holy
pickled,
shit, man.
pickled inside.
But just think about it as well. Like these guys take drugs, but they don't just take drugs. They'd be smoking cigarettes the whole time. They'd be doing like it's crazy that their body holds together under that.
Yeah.
I'm like, my body can maybe take one bad thing, one.
I think it holds it together.
Yeah.
But people think of them as greats. They're wonderful. You take some test and you're a fucking devil. Oh, Jesus.
It is funny, isn't it? How we idolize these celebrities. Like even like, I don't know, like certain celebrities, like they've got, they're completely, you can tell they're just like methed out, or they're like, smashing heaps of like these drugs. And yeah, like, I mean,
Robert Downey Jr. with cocaine and make fun. But you go to a party, you go to any party somewhere and you sit around.
Charlie Sheen.
Yeah, you go to a party. If you're at a party, you go, hey,
Charlie Sheen.
I drank this many shots of this and I got so fucked up and was spewing. People would be like, oh, good on you, mate. Great. Oh, that's unreal. Well, I had this many drinks and I threw up everywhere. I passed out. Oh, you're a legend. Hey, I take testosterone. You do what? You take testosterone? Yeah. Oh, my God.
I smoked a joint.
Yeah.
You're going to hell. No, it's true. They're glorified, literally glorified for the amounts that look, the whole Johnny Depp thing when he was going through his trial, nobody gave a fuck about what that guy was doing. But yeah, you do one shot of test and you, sir, are going to hell.
Well, the thing is, I don't care about the celebrity stuff, but I don't care about shit on a pillow or whatever it was ever heard.
Oh my God.
She was doing a bump on the stand. Did you see that? She's like, like that. I'm like, she reached down and like, did you see it? Look on YouTube. Really? I'm like,
it was on there, yeah.
Oh,
they were questioning it, yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't know. It looks a bit too. And Lee, I watched. There would be some crazy stuff that would go down. When there's a lot of money around sports and stuff, there would be some crazy drugs that would go around those sports. Yep. But in F1, Christian Horner walked in out of the Williams, what's called like their motor stand thing or whatever, at one of the races, motorhome, yeah. And he walked in and they're like, oh, Christian Horner after having a meeting with whoever it is, I can't remember his name, James Vowles, and he walks out of there and he's going like this, and he's itching his nose a few times. I'm like, I wouldn't do that if I walked out of there. Just by optics,
sugar-coated donuts. That's all.
And another time it happened as well. And I've actually got the video. I'll find the video on my phone and send it to you after, Lee. And they're like, he's just done this and he's going like this. And I'm like, pretty sure he's just done some coke and like
allergies in Germany. I hate it.
Yeah. Oh, it's awful.
My gums are sore.
Yeah. So it's just so funny because I've never done that, but it's just funny when you hear people talk of it and then you see it, and I'm like, and then you sort of hear stories. Like Lee, you've heard stories of celebrities and stuff, and you're once you see behind the curtain a little bit, you go, oh, this stuff.
Celebrity Xavier, I've done it and told stories of tying my penis to a coffee table. What are you talking about? I've been there.
You've been there and done it, and then, but you know what I mean. You hear the stories on top of it, so you have real life experience. Plus,
they're only some of the stories. If I'm going to tell a story like tying my cock to the coffee table, and that's stories I tell. Can you imagine the ones I don't tell you?
I tell you what, if Sebum would have won that contest, I think it would have been a few bodybuilders tying their cocks to coffee tables and whatnot. Because did you hear like on the actual before we wrap it up, Giles and AJ? It sounded like they were actually concerned if Chris won that they were going to get almost trampled because they said people are standing up. They said like,
yeah,
they're like,
yeah.
They said they were rushing him pretty bad.
Yeah.
Yeah. They said the security wouldn't be able to do nothing if they.
Yeah. I would have been a bit nervous, to be honest.
That'd be like having the Olympia in Iran or somewhere and having Hardy win there. Imagine the crowd.
Oh, man.
Imagine lose there.
No
more Mr. Olympia.
Military
or
to get out of the country.
Rafael in Brazil. Rafael Brandel.
Oh, yeah. You
imagine losing to an American there. Fuck, man.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to be Tony O'Burton if I won.
Oh, fuck. I was actually thinking about doing a video on some of the more questionable calls from 2024. That one was going to be close to the top. Fucking hell, man. That Mark asked me earlier if if it kind of pissed me off that Martin took the win tonight. I was like, no, I accept it. But that one where Tonio didn't end up taking the win there at the Arnold Brazil, that one pissed me off. I didn't like that one.
I think there was, I
That
can't
was
remember off the
ridiculous.
top of my head, but there was maybe one that I thought was worse. And I can't remember which one it was, but there was a lot online where there was
Oh,
the fans were 65% on one side and then the guy with 35% won the show. There was a lot of that this year, whether it's from popularity or whatever, you know?
Andrea Presti,
Yep.
Bruno Santos,
Yep,
and
that was
Andrea
one.
Presti was
Yeah,
one.
yeah.
There's a lot like that where it was 65 or 70-30, but where it went the other way. But we're not there
Another
in
one,
person
too.
as well. Like it is like seeing the different video from this C-Bum versus Martin. I've watched
Exactly.
different video and different photos, and I have one winning in one and then one winning in the other. So it's like, how
You
hard
know
is
what
it
it's
in
like.
person?
The only happy person is the guy that won. And even to be honest, I've seen like a guy get second who deserves second. But if you've got hardcore fans, it doesn't matter. You get second, even if you're a little bit off, they still think you should have won. So there's always going to be that. He was ripped off. He should have won it.
Yeah.
Yeah, he wasn't as
And
hard.
think about it.
It's bodybuilding. He was fuller. He come in fuller. He should have won. This isn't a dieting
Yeah.
contest. They'll come up
Yeah.
with excuses all the time. So.
And if there is any potential thing, like whether you're bigger or you're harder than the guy that actually won, people say, well, you're way harder than him. You're way bigger than him. It was
I wish I
bodybuilding.
could
And then you hear that and you know.
I forget who it was in Australia. We used to have an organisation here. Xavier. You probably wouldn't, because you might have been young at the time. It wasn't like the IPV. It's just like a one. You know, like we have A and B, the natural one, and that. But I forget what organisation.
Did Nick Jones do it and those guys? And they sort of like, it was like a no federation one where they gave prize money.
But I can't remember. But what happened was, I went to one of the shows, and one class had two people in it, and they weren't really in good shape. And they do the announcements, and in second place and third place, people are like,
You want to come say hi?
what? And people are like, what happened? They go, well,
No.
if there had
Okay.
been someone in good shape, you wouldn't have
Yeah,
won.
sure.
So you don't deserve winning. So the promoter, if you looked that
Okay.
bad, would give you second and third. He wouldn't give them first place if they were a little bit off. He goes, you don't deserve it. So
I like that.
you could be
That
the
is
only
so
one.
bold.
You're the only one in your class and you get second.
I've gone to local shows and
You
everybody
guys
wins.
suck so much. No one
Yeah, I've
wins.
gone to these local
No
shows
one
and
wins.
everybody wins, and they all look terrible.
No one
That's what
wins.
he would do. If you were that bad, he wouldn't give you first. It doesn't matter.
That is so amazing. Was that the same? I remember a show back in the day, and they was offering prize money. I know Scott Goebel did one. There's a bunch of guys that were doing it. It was. I think Justin Wessels did it. A bunch of guys, and I remember there was like,
The
look
one,
like there was
my
like almost like
friends
steel.
They had one in Newcastle, my friends, to put on called the Night of Champions, and they used to give out money, and that wasn't really affiliated with anyone.
That might have been it. I can't remember what it was, but I was wondering if it was that show. But I remember there was a few that they put on a. There's one in Perth. It was actually quite cool. They were giving away like 10 grand first, or 7 grand, or something like that. It was the pro show prize
Oh,
money,
shit.
or it was
Not
five.
bad,
It was at least 5, and I remember it was years ago. And then one year, Nick Jones came back and did it. And he won like a bunch of them, and won like, I think he won like 12.5 grand or something, or 10. He won a decent amount of money, or 15 grand. I was like, that's pretty for back then. I was like, that's pretty cool.
Back then, it actually went somewhere. Now you get a loaf of bread and milk, and there's 5 grand.
Oh my god, it's
what
crazy.
did,
There's some
what did Martin
weird
take
things that
home?
got expensive. 30.
Martin took 30.
Was it 30 grand?
Martin, what I'm going to do, I'm doing a video
yeah.
where it's the top earners list. So I'm going to add up all who like the top
Nice.
10 earners from 2024 and break it down. Like, yeah,
Now,
I've got to imagine
That'll be
Martin's up there.
Yeah, does he have to pay tax on that money?
Samson.
If he wins the money in Prague, does he have to pay tax on it back in America?
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't know.
Oh, give him a bonus.
I would imagine
Give
he
him
would
a
have to pay
Open up a
something.
bank account. Open a bank account in Dubai and just send it all there, and just use your
Keep it
card.
offshore.
There's no tax in Dubai.
Yeah. Well, you can
That's what you
can
really
keep the
hire a
money.
good coach for.
You could probably get the money paid into an offshore account. Like, that's not illegal, but you'd have to set that up as well. Like, I don't
Yeah,
know.
he's
Is that
still going to come
So I
home.
can send my money to Tasmania offshore. Is that
Not quite. It's still
Offshore enough.
digital.
All right,
Well, they
boys-
used to have
boys, I'm
offshore
gonna
like
shut-
betting here, but now
No.
they shut. Australia likes to shut all that out, and
yeah?
Isolate.
We shut everything down here. We've got the fun police down here shutting everything down. We can't even have fireworks.
Social media.
Some people blew their little fingers off years ago. We can't have fireworks or anything down here. Jesus. Can't have slug guns.
Really?
Can't have slingshots.
You can do all the fun stuff in the ACT. All the fun stuff you can do there. Smoke weed. You can.
Did you see that guy actually was in the ACT on the weekend? He got arrested, charged with firearm offences, and that had a water pistol, screwing a water pistol. Here you can't have gel guns or anything. If you've got a gel gun, it's classed as a real firearm.
So in the ACT, you can't have a water pistol, but you can have fireworks and weed?
Yeah, so you can make a bomb and get high, but you can't go squirting people, like Xavier.
You must be careful. You could get someone in the eye that water.
Oh, Australia. We used to be the country we don't give a fuck, do what you want, say what you want, but now we've become so bloody pathetic.
Yeah, it's
we were
so
built on
bad.
criminals from England. It was a convict country. Come on. But now we don't. But if you've got a criminal record, you can't come here. I've got friends that want to come visit, but if they've done a little bit of jail time, you can't come on a holiday. Even if you turned your life around, you've done your time, no, you can't come here. It's like, but you're built on the back of fucking prisoners. What are you talking about?
Well, Aaron Singerman got turned around at the border, I think.
Yeah.
Once he got here and straight back.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Imagine that. Huge flight, yeah. Well, he came 1 year and got in, then another year, not so much. Well, 2 years he got here, I think, and then third time, not lucky, you know.
I looked at it the third time. Let me just check if you've done time. All right, you're going back.
Yeah.
We were getting a good reputation
Lee.
here in Canada till Mike Van Wyck fucked it up for us.
Lee, I want to ask you a question. What do you think of Pauline Hanson? This is so off topic for the other guys.
She's like a Trump. She says what everybody thinks, and she was talking about the Chinese coming over and buying stuff up years ago. Remember, they said, "Oh, she's being racist." But what happened? All the Chinese come in, brought all the homes in Sydney around there, put the markets through the roof that Australians can't afford homes at. Just even where I live around here, to get an old weatherboard home, 3-bedroom, you're looking at $1 million for an old fucking wooden house that's fallen down because the medium house price around here is like $900,000 for a shitbox home, like a house that's built 60, 70 years ago.
And Lee's in Newcastle, so it's not like you're in Sydney. So if you're in Sydney,
you wouldn't be able to afford that living.
Well, the Central Coast where I was, Lee, for like, well, I don't know,
a lot of people from
9
Sydney
months or something.
There, and that used to be cheap, but now because people from Sydney are commuting an hour, Central Coast has gone through the roof.
Yeah. Where I was, the suburb I was in, it went up. The median house price was like, I think when I got there, it was like 1.2 million or something. And then it went up to like 1.45 or something. And I'm like, that's in like 9 months. And I'm
now
like,
you're probably thinking, people in America are probably thinking that's a big, beautiful house. Now we're talking run down,
average.
old shit, no yard hardly. I mean, like if you spent that money in Texas, you would have a mansion, you know. It's like,
yeah, you're looking at 1.5 mil probably for like the house, the place I was in was about 1.5 mil. It had a pool. It was nice, but it was old. It was weatherboard old house, but redone on the inside. But yeah, we're talking 1.5 mil because of location. It's like so crazy. So yeah, enjoy your house prices. Prices.
We live in some of the more affordable places here on the east coast of Canada as compared to central or west coast. You hear stories of people out on the west coast, they'll sell their house for $1 million, get an equivalent home here for like 200 grand and pocket 800. Nice. You know, you hear about that all the time. Yeah. People retire, move home. Oh yeah, man. Yeah.
There's no even possibility
where I'm at. Like where I'm at, just in the middle of the woods.
You can't even get a motorhome for 200,000 in Australia. What's talking?
And Canadian dollars are very
The Shelby Ford truck is 275,000. So
yeah, it's insane. And Canadian dollars are very similar to Australian, like they're pretty close. So when we talk prices on stuff,
we're going Nova Scotia.
Have you seen Nova Scotia? Lee? Have you been?
Right, it doesn't matter. I don't do much. I go to the gym. I go to a supermarket. I go to movies. I can live anywhere.
Hey man, you would do just
nice. Looks real nice.
Just don't ask about the winter like everybody else.
I hate the heat.
Yeah, just don't ask about the winter.
Cold, I'll be right.
Oh, okay. You'd be fine here.
It's warm enough here in the summertime.
Celsius.
I used to work
Oh.
out in it in like asphalt paving, and it gets us hot
In the
enough.
summer, you
What
can
are we
get,
talking?
get up to
What are we talking Celsius?
can
Hot
get up
enough,
to-
doesn't?
probably like 30 degrees
Fahrenheit,
in the
60
summer is
degrees.
not an uncommon thing, but like comfortably, you're going to sit around 25, kind of 27 degrees for, a couple of months of the year. Like even right now in mid-November, it's like probably, I think it was 8 degrees outside today, 9 degrees. I think they're hitting 10 degrees this week. And it's been really,
Beautiful today. Yeah.
Oh man,
Yeah,
we've
it was
been
beautiful
killing
today.
it except for wind. It's been fucking windy as fuck, but yeah.
Oh,
I like the
been
cold.
crazy
We had a
windy
little
here.
bit of an ice storm the
I
other
can
day.
stand the
No
cold,
kidding.
but wind chill, I hate wind chill. The cold, beautiful, but the
Yeah.
wind chill and it blows through your bones. You're like, I was in North Dakota once
Wind, yeah,
in the
wind
middle of
was
winter,
worse.
and that wind there, I never forget it. It's just like, it's like fuck.
Yeah.
Well, this
Yeah,
is an
cuts
island
like
in the
that.
North
Raining.
Atlantic Ocean, so
Raining 20.
Yeah, you're higher
yeah, a
where
little
you
bit.
are than where I'm at.
Yeah, I am a little bit. No, it gets bitter fucking cold in the winter. It sucks, man. Like we've got one of the boats coming out tomorrow, and I'm like, thank fuck, because I don't want to keep running the boat in the winter. And it's not uncommon for people to ask for it. Well, can't you guys break ice? I mean, yeah, probably, but I don't fucking want to. Honestly, it's fucking hell. One year, a
Packer
boat of
in the
mine got
winter,
frozen in.
down,
The ice was
take her
18
easy.
inches thick. 18 fucking inches.
Yeah.
That's what happened to
You're-
It wasn't
Shackleton.
going anywhere, man.
You're Shackleton
Crushed
himself.
his boat.
I'd go down.
Shackleton, yeah.
I'd go down and check the boat at the wharf. It was a few years ago now. I'd look, still fucking frozen. Go back to the office. Holy fuck, man. Luckily, we're not there yet.
Hey Lee,
So in these-
did you see
Yeah.
what?
a special heating device in the ship so you can turn on the heat ship. The ship heats up, the metal heats up and starts melting the ice so you can start going.
It just reminded me,
Something I
Lee.
should
Did
look
you
into.
see that? Did you see that Wayne? This is someone we know, Wayne Hallett's in Russia playing. Like he has like plays with bears and he feeds them.
I
And,
I love that bear when he went over there. I was meant to go. I met the guy he goes over there with when I was in Russia last year. I met up with him and Adam a couple of years before. I was meant to go with Wayne, and one of the guys over there who knows was in the special forces. Like, Lee, when you come over, we've got a place we can drive tanks, we can shoot rocket launchers. I'm like, yeah, that'll be great. And yeah, they've got that big bear, and Wayne's a big guy. Like, he's a big guy. When he's sitting near that bear, he looks like a little boy, and the bear's like sitting beside him in that back shot where they're both looking on the mountain. Yeah. This bear's like big, and as fun as it is, if he just decides to swipe, it's like it's over.
yeah, I'd still be scared. Because Wayne's a big dude.
Yeah.
Like, he's one of the strongest dudes in Australia, so it was like he's a big guy, and it's to see like a bear like that, it's like it makes you realize like if I was there, I'd be like,
it'd be like me standing beside Ford, a strongman guy, and it'd be like me standing beside him. Wayne's a big guy, but beside that bear, he looks like a little kid. That bear's just massive. Nathan Jones. I remember Nathan Jones used to be in prison when I lived in Brisbane. Around the corner was Boggo Road Jail, and I remember him in there. He was known for he got angry one day and ripped the cell door off his cell.
Who's Nathan Jones?
He's done acting. He does a bit of acting and that. He's a ball guy.
Yeah, they used to call him
you
the
probably know him if you saw him.
Road.
Yeah,
and then he
broke his arm.
Strongest man competition. What's his name? Broke his arm. Magnus? No.
Yeah.
One of the Magnus.
He's been in a few movies. He almost looks like an older version of Martin Ford.
He was in 300.
Yes, yeah.
Or not. Yeah, not 300.
Troy.
He was in the one with Brad Pitt. Yeah, he was the big muscular dude. He was a pro wrestler.
He had the Warhammer.
He did WWF wrestling. He sucked.
Yeah, he's one of those guys. Like
no
I know him, but I never really like associated a name with the guy.
Yeah.
Colossus of Boggo Road.
Yeah, Boggo Road Jail. Every Wednesday, the McDonald's truck would go in there, and I'd ask one of the guards to come to the jail. Why do they get McDonald's? He goes, it keeps them happy so they don't get crazy. Every Wednesday,
hey man, sometimes that happens.
Prison, the McDonald's truck going in.
They will. They'll give guys stuff just to be able to keep them from getting rowdy. I watched. I was a guard for a period of time, like 10 years ago. Be like, why does that guy get a TV in his
You
cell?
were.
Because it keeps him fucking quiet.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
We don't want no
That's literally
trouble.
what it was. No, it's
We don't
that's
want him,
literally what it
to
was.
sit in his cell and have too much time to think because he'd be planning how to get us.
Yeah. No,
Yeah,
some
true.
guys you just no.
Mhm.
But listen, on that note, gentlemen, I got to take off from here. But
Okay.
appreciate everybody's time. Thank you for joining me,
Sorry about
Lee.
the
I
time.
appreciate you coming on.
Sorry about the time. I'm thinking you're on East
Man.
Coast time. I'm like, I'm going to make it in time.
Don't worry about that. Don't worry about that at all. Like I said, this is the normal go when it comes to trying to coordinate time schedules with everybody. So now we'll know now for the next one. All
I'm like,
right.
Xavier,
Sounds good.
what time are we on? We got it.
yeah. Just we'll talk, Lee, and then we'll convene. And
You got my number, asshole. Why didn't you text me and say, Lee, we're on? You just wanted me to look like a prick, didn't you? Thanks, Xavier.
He was
no,
fucking late
I
too.
got on late. So I was a few minutes.
You're an
Well,
asshole.
I was on.
Xavier was a little bit late, too.
I was on with Antoine, and then I just saw he sent me a message, and he's like, "You jumped off too quick because I was on Riverside with him, so I've got to go back on the link after."
The download.
Yeah, I just clicked X off the thing because I was like, "Oh crap!" Because Kenson's like, "I sent you a thing on there," and I saw it was 22 minutes ago. I'm like, "Shit!" And then I was like, "I've got to get a protein shake or something in." So I was rushing around to get here, so I was late for this one as well, Lee. So
Yeah, I'm more disappointed because I was at Costco and my wife's like, "Do you want to get the foot long hot dog?" And then I said, "I haven't got time. I got to get home for a podcast." So I even gave up the hot dog and shit, and I'm still like,
oh, I'm
We'll
hungry.
do better
I
next
could do
time.
a
Make sure you
Costco
get your
hot
fucking
dog.
hot dog. No, it's all good. All right, gentlemen, I'm going to call it there. Again, thank you for joining me.
And I
Catch
apologize
you
for
guys on the
talking
next
over
one.
Mark again. The sync in the voice was really throwing me here.
Try and fix that for the next one, too. All right, later, guys.